Toronto Blue Jays, their magic number is now down to 6. They won 8-2 against Baltimore last night, led by that man, Dave Winfield, over 100 RBIs at the age of 40. As a result of that win, Baltimore 6 games out. The Brew Crew still in it, 3.5 behind. You see the schedule for tonight. Big game, Oakland and Milwaukee. That magic number at 6. We'll see whether or not it changes as the Toronto Blue Jays come to Yankee Stadium. ESPN's Friday Night Baseball. The Blue Jays take on the Yankees. The Jays have won 9 of the 10 games these two teams have played this season. Hello, everybody. Gary Thorne, Dave Campbell, and welcome. Great to have you with us. We hope the weather will hold up. They've got that tropical storm off the coast. Little light rain, but they've taken the top off, as you see behind us, and it looks as though at least we'll get this game started, Dave. For the Toronto Blue Jays, a club that's been led by some veterans.
Really has been. If you want to know that free agency can work once in a while, take a look at what Jack Morris and Dave Winfield have done for this club. In the month of August, the Blue Jays went 14-16. They're really only bad month of the year. But during that month, Morris won 5 games when the rest of their pitching was absolutely in the tank. And Dave Winfield drove in 32 runs. Cito Gaston told me that before the game tonight, had those two guys not stepped up in August, they would not be even in the race right now. They were playing that poorly, the rest of the team.
And one of the other things that's helped out, of course, is David Cone. He's going to be on the mound tonight. He returned to Yankee Stadium. He had pitched, of course, with the New York Mets. He holds a lot of pitching records with the Mets, and many feel he'll be right here in a Yankee uniform next year. Cone will be a free agent. New York wants him back. David has made it pretty clear he wants New York back. George Steinbrenner will be back, so it's a question of will there be enough money to give him.
Well, I don't know. Right now he's making $130,000 a start, but if he can get the Toronto Blue Jays to the big dance, to the Fall Classic, as Tommy Lasorda says, it'll be worth every penny. It'll be interesting to see where he goes. You know, one interesting thing, if he gets 7 strikeouts tonight, that gives him $250 for the year. The all-time Yankee record is $248 by Ron Guidry, so maybe he could get himself in the annals of the Yankees. Great history if he came over here next year.
Well, he may be here. He'd like to put on a real good show tonight. We'll see what happens. David Cone will be on the mound for the Toronto Blue Jays. Great season for Melito Perez. He will make the start tonight for the Yankees. We'll be back. Opening pitch coming up from Yankee Stadium. Back
going to Dave Campbell at Yankee Stadium in New York. Let's talk for a moment about the eventual winners in the American League West, the Oakland A's, who could clinch another division title tonight. You know, Jose Canseco, Ricky Henderson, and Dave Henderson did not appear in the same outfield altogether one time this year, and that was only the tip of the injury iceberg for manager Tony La Russa to contend with. And yet here are the A's on the verge of winning another American League Western Division title. Even Tony La Russa forgot what his lineup was supposed to look like at some points this year, but the crowning point in this unlikely title season was perhaps maybe July 29th, when a former algebra teacher named Eric Fox hit a 9th-inning home run off Twins closer Rick Aguilera at the Metrodome to win a game. The A's got a sweep in the series, a share of first place, and basically they were off to the races. Here's Mark Schwartz with more.
Swung on, hit deep to right field. It's way back. It's going. It's gone. Holy Toledo.
It makes perfect sense that Eric Fox, a career minor leaguer, would put the exclamation point on a season that makes sense only to the Oakland A's.
We had already won 2 games in the Dome, and it would have been very easy for us just to, let's take our 2 out of 3 and get out of here. He comes in off Aguilera in the 9th and gets a big home run that puts us up. That comes in, closes the game. It was such an emotional boost, you know, for the team to be able to pick up an extra.
The A's have been picking up extras all season. They broke up the Bash Brothers and unleashed the Killer Bees, Bordick, Blankenship, Brocious, and Brown, who have achieved with hustle and desire what the A's once did with sheer intimidation.
I think the symbols are definitely different. Obviously, one half of the Bash Brothers is now in Texas. The death stare is still there, but not as effective as it was 2 years ago. You know, I don't have 20 wins. But the one thing that does remain with this ball club is that we still have heart, we still have soul.
And they still have Tony La Russa, who's always valued attitude more than he has natural ability.
And while La Russa clearly despises the genius tag, given the circumstances, he is definitely having a career year.
In order for us to win, he had to have a career year, and he's done it.
He's done it with baseball's most elderly team. Oakland lost more than 700 player games to injury, with Bob Welch taking the dubious triple crown with 3 visits to the disabled list. And at one point, Stewart, Canseco, and both Hendersons were disabled together. So La Russa improvised with outfield trios like Brocious, Neal, and Howitt, or Reddy, Wilson, and Fox.
He really believes, and we really believe in him, that no matter what day it is, the lineup that he puts out for that particular day is a lineup that he really believes has the chance of winning that game.
The players have come through time and time again, and they've been relentless about once they could smell it, nobody's backed off. I mean, I'm the same guy manager that was managing that week where we couldn't win a game. So to me, the story is the players.
Once they were Boardwalk. This season, the A's have become the electric company, getting juice from utility players to restore their monopoly in the West. And having seen it once, you get the feeling La Russa could do it again if he had to.
Could you go out and win it with exactly the same people next year as you did this year?
Well, I'd love to take my chances. I mean, the talent's fine. It's definitely good enough, but the hearts and their desire to play baseball and play it right, take it against anybody anytime.
With the A's, Mark Schwartz, ESPN.
Thank you, Mark. And a reminder, the A's come in with an 8.5-game lead over the Minnesota Twins. Should the A's win tonight in Milwaukee, and that's no lock because the Brewers are right in the thick of the American League East race, but if the A's win tonight in Milwaukee, and if Kansas City beats Minnesota tonight, then the Oakland Athletics would clinch yet another National League Western Division crown. And as Mark detailed, what a feather in the cap that would be of the whole team, and especially, even though he won't admit it, their manager, Tony La Russa. We're set to play baseball, at least for the moment, at Yankee Stadium in New York. The tarp is off. Gary Thorne's ready. Dave Campbell's ready. Guys, we're ready. Take it away.
All right, Tom, we'll see if we can make it last here at Yankee Stadium as a very light mist continues to fall. As Tom told you, a couple hours away and 120 miles south of Philadelphia, and that one has already postponed the doubleheader, but it has not rained hard enough to prevent this one from starting. So let's take a look at what we're going to have tonight as far as the starting lineups are concerned. First for the Toronto Blue Jays. Devon White will be leading it off. He'll be in center field. In right field tonight will be Derek Bell. We'll tell you why Carter is out tonight. Roberto Alomar, one of the league's leading offensive players at second base. Dave Winfield, what a story, the DH batting cleanup. John Olerud at first base, left-handed hitter, will be followed number 6, Candy Maldonado. He'll be in left field. At third base, Kelly Groover, right-handed batter. Pat Borders, most of the catching this season. He has done it. He'll be batting 8th. And at shortstop, Alfredo Griffin bats 9th.
Melito Perez, 12-15. He is tied for second in losses in the American League, but that doesn't tell the whole story because he is 6th in ERA. He's 4th in strikeouts per 9 inning. He also holds runners very well, but he has committed 8 errors. That's tops in the American League, so he can be an adventure on the mound. Great forkball. In fact, he has 2 different grips on it. Defensively behind him, Charlie Hayes done a good job at third base. Randy Velarde has been sensational since the All-Star break. Mike Gallego playing his 6th game since coming back after the broken wrist. And Don Mattingly having another terrific year defensively and has really picked up with the hitting. Roberto Kelly in left, Bernie Williams in center, and Mel Hall in right. Andy Tartabull will be the DH tonight. Mike Stanley, he has caught Perez the last 9 times. He's in there. You take Matt Noakes' bat out against David Cohn, but Mike Stanley has been the personal catcher for Melito Perez in his last 10 starts now.
You see the weather conditions here, not very good. 60 degrees, humidity at 78. More importantly, that forecast of that storm moving up the coast. Danielle, severe storm warnings, flood warnings, south in New Jersey along the coast. The winds have been blowing today between 20 and 30 miles an hour. Fans already have the umbrellas out. It started about 10 minutes after 7 here at Yankee Stadium that the light mist started falling, but it's not rained at all. Neither team got out to take any BP or anything, so the field has been covered. Devon White leading it off. Melito Perez goes after him, and we are underway. And strike 1 on Devon White. There you see the numbers for Devon White. One you don't see up there is that he is still among the top 10 in strikeouts this season. He is 7th in Ks in the American League this year. That is not unusual for Devon White. His struck out 128 times. Lito Perez 1-1.
On-base percentage down for Devon, only 300, but his home runs, RBIs, almost the same as last year. The run production, no scoring, down about 15. The on-base percentage is hurt. There's Larry Heisel, the batting coach of the Toronto Blue Jays.
That one towards left field. Mel Hall doing the patrolling out there. Hauls it in, and White is retired, and we've got one away. Roberto Kelly makes the catch. Let me flip-flop him around between right and left. One down.
Heisel talking with Pat Borders, the catcher. Borders 4 for his last 30. Heisel telling him, Pat, get a good pitch to hit tonight.
And that one's going to be taken up high. Joe Carter's got a bruised knee. Cito Gaston waited until he arrived at the park tonight to determine whether or not he could make the start. And Carter just said, no, I can't. And believe me when he says no, it's a real no. He took a baseball, it bounced up on him and caught him in the back of the knee. Had to come out of the ball game, so they'll rest him. No need to injure Joe Carter at this point.
Carter came into the season with 505 consecutive games played. Missed one earlier in the year. This is only the second one he's been out of, so you know that knee is hurt.
Slash to short. Randy Velarde over to Don Mattingly. And Bell is retired. 2 down in the first. And this is the inning that Melito Perez needs to get through. The first inning has been destructive for him this year.
Yeah, 4.57 ERA in the first. Rest of the game, 2.57. But that's certainly not unusual. Probably a good 70 to 80% of Major League pitchers have their biggest problems in the first.
The Yankee Stadium, not a lot of folks here tonight. The weather, one reason, and in fact the Yankees are 73 and 80 and 16 and a half out, another reason. That'll be fouled off outside of third base by Roberto Alomar.
Well, baseball has come to this. The Toronto Blue Jays, averaging 49,500, have drawn more than the combined attendance of the New York Yankees and the New York Mets.
Boy, if you'd have said that at the beginning of the season, even this year, not many would have bought that one. Good off-speed pitch by Perez to Alomar, and he's ahead on the count 0-2. Robbie putting up tremendous numbers. 7th in hitting, 4th in runs, 10th in walks, 5th in stolen bases, and 3rd in on-base percentage this season. And he chases that one. Melito Perez gets his 202nd strikeout of the season, retiring the side in order. Tonight you'd be picking up one of these as a souvenir. The Yankee program on sale here tonight as you come through the turnstiles at great Yankee Stadium. And for the Yankees tonight, here's what you put in it. Bernie Williams leading off, center field, switch hitter. Roberto Kelly making the start in left field, batting second. What a season for the Yankees. Don Mattingly batting third at first base. Great offensive numbers. Danny Tartabull bats cleanup, the designated hitter. Making the start tonight in right field is Mel Hall. Randy Velarde, you saw in action at shortstop. Another right-handed batter behind the plate is Mike Stanley batting seventh. Charlie Hayes, very strong season at third base, bats eighth. And Mike Gallego will start at second base.
Returning to New York, David Cone, greeted by some raindrops you can see in the background. He's 3-2 since he's joined the Jays. 16-7 overall on the year. 16-9, excuse me. He leads the major leagues in strikeouts with 243. He is very prone to giving up stolen bases if people reach. And what he'll try to do with the left-handed batters in particular tonight is go with a backdoor slider. Started outside, bring it in on the outside corner of the plate. He was very effective against Toronto earlier.
New York Mets acquired him from the Kansas City Royals, and what seasons he had in 1987 through 1992.
Defense behind David Cone is Kelly Gruber at third. Alfredo Griffin still in for the injured Manny Lee, Javi Alomar and John Olerud. Candy Maldonado, Devon White, and Derek Bell in the outfield with Pat Borders catching his 131st game. That leads All-American League catchers.
For David Cone, all the stories have been since he left the New York Mets, and particularly yesterday and today, knowing he was coming back. Will he be in a New York Yankee uniform next season? And does he want to be? Speak for thyself, David.
Well, I think that right now I've been able to put all that stuff behind me and think about it when the time comes. It's really not appropriate to consider all the options now, because I don't have a clear conscience as to what I'm going to think about. But, I hope it's an option. I hope it's something I can really consider. I think I know New York well enough to know whether or not I'd want to come back here.
Well, he'd love to put on a big show here tonight, and they were hoping, Yankees were, and the Yankee fans, they were going to have a big crowd on hand tonight welcoming back to New York, but it didn't work. All the publicity, I think, got trounced a little bit by the weather here tonight, and that certainly had something to do with it. But for David Cone, as he says, what matters right now is getting this club, first of all, to wrap up the division title and then try and move them on to a pennant and a World Series and another ring.
Those Brewers have been a little bit pesky, though. They don't want to throw in the towel.
They are hanging tough. Williams leads it off and fouls the first pitch back. Gurney Williams, one of the Yankees of the future, put up some outstanding numbers for them since joining the New York Yankees. Played most of it at Columbus this season, their AAA team. There's no question they are very pleased with the work that he is doing right now in the outfield. He's taken over center field and looks like he's going to be there for a while. In fact, has moved Roberto Kelly to left, which did not particularly please Roberto Kelly.
No, and one of the reasons Roberto quite possibly could be on the block this winter, although he's certainly a valuable commodity.
David Cone, he floats that one in. See you later.
Well, Coney wants to go backdoor slider. He threw a 0-1 slider in the middle of the plate, and that time he got the outer half. There it is, starting it outside and bringing it in on the outside corner. He was very successful. Kansas City ran 8 left-handed batters up against David Cone, and he got the backdoor slider going, pitched a 5-hitter through 8 innings and shut him out.
Coney leads the majors with 244 strikeouts. Doesn't matter what league he's in, he gets it done. Down and away to Roberto Kelly. Kelly's not had a hit in his last 9 at-bats, and is batting only .230 since he moved over from center to left field. 9 hits in his last 56 at-bats overall, and there's a little concern among the Yankees as to exactly how this is going to work for Kelly.
David Cone is throwing little bitty baseballs right now when he throws the heater, as you saw right there, and he's also got the slider working, so he's in a good groove early. He's only given up 2 runs in his last 3 starts.
That one will be a base hit into center field. Takes care of the 0 for 9. Roberto Kelly's on with a single. Devon White gets it back in, and the Yankees have a 1-out single in the first inning.
Looks like a low fork ball. First one he's throwing, and Roberto Kelly just went down and got the split finger pitch. So David Cone probably wanted to get that a little lower, maybe bounce it. Left it down at the bottom of the strike zone, and Roberto plunked it into center.
Now the Yankee Don Mattingly. What a tremendous season for the veteran who has that chronic bad back, genetically incurred, so that there's not much he can do about it except have continual treatment and keep it stretched. And even with that, Mattingly has put up those numbers this season.
Great majority of that from the month of July on. Had kind of a slow start this year, but Bobby Mercer, one of the Yankee broadcasters, talked about the fact he noticed Mattingly really keeping his head down and his hands back, and he's been swinging the bat great since.
He had a good night last night. Don Mattingly went 2 for 4, double and 3 RBIs, as the Yankees had a big 10-1 win against the Detroit Tigers last night. David Cone will try and shut down a Yankee team which has scored in the first inning in the last 4 games. All their games against Detroit, they got first inning runs, 2, 3, 5, and 3 in the first inning in those 4 games. And he almost caught Roberto Kelly leaning to second base.
Roberto Kelly, 28 out of 32 in the stolen base department. And again, David Cone gives up a lot of steals. He leads the major leagues in stolen bases allowed.
Mattingly, the left-handed hitter, with a 1-1 count on him. Donnie goes the other way, and that'll end up as a souvenir in the seats. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Cone's first start with the Toronto Blue Jays, he ended up walking 7, and unfortunately for David, it was against the Milwaukee Brewers, a team that leads the major leagues in steals. They ran wild. They stole 8 bases against Cone in his debut with the Jays.
Great ERA over those last 3 starts. He is settled in. Those are the kind of numbers that he has continually put up over the last 2 seasons. Mattingly takes that breaking ball inside. Tough pitch to stay off. Kelly faked the go to second base. 2 balls, 2 strikes on Mattingly. See the rain, light continues to fall here. That doesn't make it easy for anyone. Wind blowing towards right field tonight, and as we said, it is gusting. Flags are right out straight. You went up in the air. It's going to fly. On it goes. Mattingly fouls it off, and Borders, who came jumping out, almost paid dearly for that one, as he almost got caught both on the front and the back half of Mattingly's swing.
I think the foul ball hit him in the shin guard, and then he almost got the bat of Mattingly, as you said, Gary. Roberto Kelly really was sputtering, trying to get away from first base. And it came down and hit him on the foot. But Roberto Kelly, it is damp out there already. He kind of was running in one place when he took off for second base. The field getting wet.
And the uniform will be mighty dirty in a hurry. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Mattingly, 177 hits. That's 6th most in the league, and he's got 40 doubles. That's 3rd best. Runner goes again. Mattingly pops it up outside of third. Kelly Gruber will watch it disappear into the umbrellas. And the count will stay at 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Quite a bit of room behind home plate going to the backstop here at Yankee Stadium, but as you angle down the foul lines, very, very little. Roberto Kelly checking with Alfredo Griffin to make sure who's going to be on the cover if Kelly goes.
About as much room down the third baseline as we have in our booth, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, right about where the that place juts out there near the line. That's about the size of our booth.
Again, close at first base. Tim Wilkie making the call.
Well, when they built this stadium back in 1923, I don't think any teams were broadcasting anyway. Pittsburgh Pirates broadcast a game in 1921, a guy named Harold Arlen, but they didn't build broadcast booths when the stadium went up.
KDKA, and the throw's off a bit by Orud. He was leaning again to second base. That was just a lob toss, though, put over by David Cohn. 29 years old. Fly ball pitcher when he's on. Opponents don't hit very well against him. Keeps the numbers down. Runner goes. Mattingly to right. And it's hauled in by Derek Bell. Got a chance at first. Orud picks it up, tags the bag, double play. Derek Bell looked as though he was going to misjudge it. Roberto Kelly was running on the pitch. He had rounded second base. And they get the double play as Kelly had no chance to get back into the bag. Nothing after 1. Well, Roberto Kelly ends up on the second half of the double play, and Mattingly's 5-all on the hit and run here.
You see Derek Bell take one step in when the ball's hit. Oops, he's going back now. And it's a good thing he's got the big glove, because he needs all of it. It's like one of those highlight accessories. But he makes a great play after misjudging, and then is easily able to double Roberto Kelly off, who was all the way around second. He touches coming back, but the throw into Orud doubles up Kelly. And Gary, you're right. That wind is really carrying the ball to right field.
There's a real jet stream out there tonight. Dave Winfield gets a great hand from fans who used to cheer for him when he had the Yankee uniform on. Game number 2,701 here tonight. He had a big night last night, going over that 100 RBI mark. Yankee fans and the media in particular have been hoping Winfield might come into this game below that 100 RBI mark, but he took care of that last night. 8th at homers, 8th at RBIs, and 6th in slugging percentage to go along with that .294 batting average for the 40-year-old designated hitter. Strike 2.
Gary, I think the other thing that Winfield really brings is some intangibles of leadership, and the fact that sometimes he's able to recognize when maybe his club isn't really geared up for a given night. That's the night he seems to put on the extra burst, tries to take the extra base. Sometimes he hasn't been successful. He's run into some outs this year on the bases, but it's always been aggressive, and he's trying to send a message to his teammates.
Well, we saw him do that in Toronto. They check it first, and he's gone. Tim Wilkie makes the call on it. Winfield the strikeout, 1 down, second inning, and we'll check in with Tom Meeks.
All right, Gary, in Pittsburgh, you know, the Pirates' magic number is down to 3, and in the first inning of Sid Fernandez, bang, goes Gary Aridas. The leadoff batter for the Pirates deposits it in the left field pavilion. To the Pirates lead, El Cid and the Mets 1-0. They're now in the second. Back to New York.
And with the Pirates love to put it away against the New York Mets, the team they feared most this season in that division, although it didn't work out that way. One down, 2 strikeouts in a row, picked up by Melito Perez, and John Olerud up. Olerud's had the rocky road ride. It's been high and low moments for him this season as far as what's gone on at the plate. Overall, a very good season. Come in spurts and then disappeared for a while.
Keep an eye on Melito Perez and the 2 different fork balls he throws. One will go down and into left-handed batters, the other one down and away. That was the down and away one there. He has a great fork ball that he has 2 different grips on.
One of the problems he's had with it, as you'd expect, wild pitches. He leads the staff far and away in wild pitches with 12. He's walked 87 on the season. That ball is short, out of the reach of Velarde. Alberto Kelly comes over to get it, and there's the 1-out single for Olerud, the first base runner for the Toronto Blue Jays.
Well, John had an 0 for 5 in Baltimore last night, so that gets him a little on track, and Candy Maldonado steps up. Velarde gives him a good jump, but Randy just didn't have quite enough spring. You need one of those 43-inch vertical leaps to get this ball, and Randy was at about 26.
Velarde and Stankiewicz doing work at short. Velarde's had the heavy bat. It's been working for him, so he's getting the playing time. Candy Maldonado with a runner on at first base. Maldonado swings through it, strike 1. For Candy Maldonado, very good offensive numbers as they had hoped to get out of him against Perez. He's 3 for 16 lifetime. One of those hits a home run. That one down low, ball and a strike as Stanley made the block. Olerud stays at first base.
I wonder if the Blue Jays gave Candy meal money up in Toronto, he would hit better. They have gone, Candy's gone 8 consecutive years hitting better on the road. Whatever team he's played for. Try to figure that one out, folks. One of those odd quirks. Maybe it's at $59.50 they get a day for meal money in the major leagues now. Can you imagine that, folks? $59.50 just for meals.
And you're making $4 million a year. Olerud back. Maldonado's hitting .252 at home and .288 on the road. As they've said, staying 8 years consistent with a better road average. At $59.50, it's a lot of pizzas. Plus, they have their spread in the clubhouse. The only meal they eat usually is breakfast and that one at the ballpark. Towering fly ball, but not deep to right. That's where Mel Hall is, huh? 2 down. Olerud back to the bag, 2 away. And Gruber will be coming up. It should be a great pitcher's duel here tonight. This weather will hold off. Cone at 16 and 9, Perez 12 and 15, but Perez could have done a whole lot better than that numbers-wise. There's Cito Gaston. His ball club looking for their 91st win here with a 3.5 game lead. They had 91 wins all of last year when they won it by 7. Gruber, the third baseman, Olerud on at first base, 2 down. Kelly up the middle, has got a base hit. Bernie Williams in to get it. John Olerud to say, I'm going to take third. Williams' throw comes through. That allows the runner to go to second base. Well, let's see if that matters. Kelly Gruber gets the single, takes second on the throw.
Well, Bernie Williams did not have a shot at Olerud, and that was his first mistake. Second mistake is if you're going to throw to third, you have to hit the cutoff man, and he sailed it over. So Bernie Williams with a fundamental mistake there, just airmailed the shortstop Velarde. Gary, here's an interesting situation from the standpoint that Pat Borders is the 8th place hitter in the lineup. This is a good difference between the American League and the National League. And you can see the cutoff man missed. But in the National League, Pat Borders hitting 8th would get a right turn to first base now with an intentional walk, unless the pitcher was an exceptional hitter. But that's one of the differences in the American and National League. Borders liable to see something decent to hit here.
He's got a chance to bring a couple home here with a base hit. And this is where Perez's wild pitch matters. Keep that in mind. Pat Borders has not done well with runners on this season. 198 with runners in scoring position, and that's a little unusual for Pat Borders. He's a pretty good contact hitter. Just hasn't come with people on for him. Olerud at third, lead runner. Gruber at second. Down to third, over Hayes' head. Olerud will score, so will Kelly Gruber, and that throw did matter. 2 RBIs on the single by Pat Borders, and it's 2-0 Toronto.
I was talking to Yankee broadcaster Tony Kubek before the game tonight. I said, how's this infield to play on? He says, you would not believe how hard it is. Even with rain, it hits the kangaroo hop over Charlie Hayes because that area in front of home plate is so hard, and that cost the Yankees 2 runs. So between the bad luck on the bounce and the throw by Bernie Williams, 2 runs across for the Jays.
52 RBIs on the season for Pat Borders, and Melito Perez couldn't get that big out. Now Griffin stands in, and that's going to be a base hit into right field. Borders had to jump over it. Hall picks it up. Borders will stop at second. Hall will run it in. And Griffin's on with a single. And Melito Perez literally isn't getting the hops because that's what the hits are doing.
Well, Alfredo Griffin has now played in 24 of the last 25 games with the injury to Manny Lee. And he's hit .400 over the last 6 games. So Alfredo's starting to contribute with the bat. Melito can't get any luck. You know, I was thinking about Pat Borders. It was a week ago tonight, the game we did, Texas and Toronto, when Borders knocked in the first 2 in the second inning. And that final score was 13-0. So, folks, we hope this isn't a harbinger.
Quiet over there. 2 down here. 2 remain on. Leadoff batter Devon White. White flied out first time up. 8 hits, 24 at-bats lifetime against Melito Perez.
Yeah, but we had a jewel. We had a makeup game on Wednesday. That Pittsburgh-Montreal 14-inning game. We got a dandy.
That was a beauty. Unfortunately for the Expos, they lost the second one. 0-1 grounded towards second base. Mike Gallego's got a fourth and goes for the bag. And it'll take Griffin out on the fourth play, but Toronto comes through, picking up a couple of runs on 4 hits, all singles, and they have the 2-0 lead. Our doubleheader tonight will come to you from Candlestick Park, where the Cincinnati Reds, winners of 8 in a row, will take on the San Francisco Giants. That's right after our game from Yankee Stadium.
Will this be one of the last 3 games ever at the Stick?
Nope.
No, I don't think so either. But
they'll keep the team. They'll get a new ballpark built in about 3 years, and they'll pay lawyers about $8 billion in legal fees on the suits filed by St. Pete. What do you think?
Why are you smiling?
I'm not. I'm not smiling.
Trial lawyer. George Bush talked about you.
Broken back ground ball, and played by Alomar. That'll take care of the designated hitter. He's got a 6-game hit streak. You see some of the signs on hand here tonight. Cone and the Yankees. They got the cone heads and the Yankee signs already on right there.
What's the first sign say?
Only in New York. Well, related to the nightlife of David Cone. Let's just leave it at that.
Well, original game tonight is in the land of the cheeseheads in Milwaukee. So Coneheads and cheeseheads featured tonight.
David Cone getting the out here and faces Mel Hall. Takes the pitch inside. Toronto is just beaten up on these New York Yankees. They have won 9 of the 10 games against the Yankees. They are hitting .330 as a team, while New York's hitting .220 against them. It's their best record and best offensive numbers against any team this season, understandably so. They lost the first game and have won the last 9 these teams have played. In fact, the Jays love playing here at Yankee Stadium. They have not lost a series as far as the games played at Yankee Stadium since 1984. Since then, as you see, they've gone 33-16 here in New York.
Well, they call Toronto the New York of Canada, so maybe these guys think they're at home.
Takes it all away. Cone gets it in. 3 balls, 1 strike.
You know, having visited Toronto, though, I must say in all honesty that it reminds you of a major city. It reminds you of Chicago, right on the lake, Lakeshore Drive. Beautiful city. If you haven't been there, folks, terrific place.
You walk it. Won't see a lot of that from either of these pitchers if they are on. That'll be the first walk of the game. Mel Hall gets that one, and there's 1 on with 1 down here in the second inning. So the fans who want to make David Cone a Yankee He thinks he'd look mighty good in the uniform. He says he wants to do it. There you see him with the New York Mets and Toronto. How about right in the middle? Aha! Hey, the deal's done, I see.
Yeah.
No.
ESPN's going to get fined for tampering.
That's right.
That is Jed Drake, care of ESPN, 1 ESPN Plaza, Bristol, Connecticut.
Speaking of lawyers.
6010.
Dave Winfield on the right, Joe Carter getting the night off with the knee on the left. 1-0 the count, 1 away. Calls on. Randy Velarde is up, batting at .289. They have had tremendous production in the infield of that shortstop position. Stankiewicz, Eddie Stankiewicz, has become a big fan here with Randy Velarde putting up big numbers now. Stankiewicz has had to sit some out. But Andy Stankiewicz is batting .271 on the year. Those are tremendous numbers, guys in the infield. Raining a little harder. 1 ball, 1 strike. Fouled off on the fists of Velarde.
Yeah, Yankees are going to have some very interesting decisions. They had some organizational meetings down in Tampa, Florida on Monday, an off day. Buck Showalter flew down. Gene Michaels was down there as they met with Joe Malloy. And all clubs have got to decide that protective list of 50. And some of the people they're talking about maybe not protecting, Danny Tartabull, believe it or not, Mel Hall, Roberto Kelly, Randy Velarde, guys that are, some guys having terrific years.
There's some real names to be picked up off that list. The reason they can do that with Danny Tartabull is that he's got a guaranteed contract, but not a no-trade clause. $5.1 million a year that Tartabull's making that someone would have to pick up. This is outside, 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Tartabull is in his 7th Major League season, and he's had some terrific numbers this year, but once again, he will not play 140 games. He's only done that 2 out of 7 years, 140 games.
Kevin Moss, the big left-handed power hitter, probably won't be protected. Steve Farr, the reliever, might not be. Stankiewicz probably won't be, and Gallegos free. Great off-speed pitch. Along with all that power he's got, and all that nasty slider, he can throw you a hellacious changeup.
But I'll tell you, right-handed batters just don't have really a good chance. This is just a dandy breaking ball from David Cone. When you come sidearm with that kind of stuff, and you're also amongst the top pitchers in the league and hit batters, you're not too comfortable hitting against David Cone.
80 miles an hour on that last pitch to get the strikeout. And he's got 2 down. 2 down. Hall remains at first base, and Stanley's up. Swings through it, strike 1.
Bill Hall went 3 consecutive years, 89 to 91, without stealing a base, but he does have 4 this year, and if you're going to run on anybody, David Cone's the guy you're going to run on. He leads the league, as we said, in allowing stolen bases while he's on the mound.
Stanley, an 0 for 6 at the plate right now. Probably 0 for 7. Kelly Gruber. Wind blows it back the other way, but that'll do it. So a walk, but all the Yankees can get out of it is a runner left on, and Cone protects that 2-0 lead at the end of 2. Gary Thorne, Dave Campbell with you here at Yankee Stadium. Light rain falling. They hope to get this one in. This will be the final homestand for the New York Yankees. These 3 games, that's it. They will be finishing up their schedule on the road. New York Yankees have 3 against Cleveland and 3 against Boston to wrap it up. Melito Perez now will try and settle it in after a couple of runs and 4 singles in the second inning. Derek Bell, Alomar, and Winfield.
Toronto Blue Jays are 60-14 when they score first this year. That's 81%. Major League average is 67%. Testimony not only to hitting well, but when that pitching gets a lead and they can get it to Ward and Hinkie late. So you don't want the Jays to score first. 60-14 when they score first in the ballgame. That's the best record of any team in the Major League.
Toronto Blue Jays come into this pitching-wise with the 4th best number in saves on their staff. Perez bounces that one down low. It's interesting when you look at the numbers on these 2 teams. I mean, when you look at the records, Toronto's 190 and the Yankees are 173. You'd say, well, the offensive and pitching numbers got to be dramatically different. Well, they're not. The Yankees have really been that close to being a pretty decent baseball team, and they've lost 1-run ball games. They've had games where they've gotten blown away because the staff's fallen apart at different times of the year. but their offensive numbers are not distinctively different from those of the Toronto Blue Jays.
I agree, and their defense much better than it was a year ago. They were 13th in the American League last year. They've improved to 6th this year, but some of the little things that don't show up in the box score, like Bernie Williams missing a cutoff man, and some of the fundamental mistakes that the young Yankees make, and young teams are going to do that. Now, Jays more of a veteran team. They play very sound, fundamental baseball.
That's what has really made the difference with these two teams this season. Derek Bell takes the pitch. Ball 3-3-2 from Perez.
One team you can look at it, we've seen a lot this year in the National League, the Pittsburgh Pirates. I mean, their numbers aren't going to dazzle you all the time, but they are so sound fundamentally. A lot of those things don't show up in the box score.
Got him. Alito Perez down and away on that one. He's got his third strikeout. Tom Eaves.
Hi, Gary, in Minnesota. Top of the first. Erickson from Minnesota delivers to Keith Miller, and Miller goes the other way. Couple of hops to the right field wall. A little bit of trouble for the right fielder picking the ball up, and Keith Miller is on his way. Around second into third, he had a triple. He scored on a Wally Joyner single. George Brett, his first at-bat, hit into a double play. Gary?
Roberto Alomar going through the first one, strike one. Alomar struck out one of the three. Melito Perez now picked up in the game, batting at .311 on the season.
.418 lifetime against the New York Yankees in his 2-year tenure with the Jays.
Alomar, tremendous numbers again this year. .429 coming into the game against the Yankees. The Yankee pitching staff doesn't want to see Toronto any more than they have to. 2 balls, 1 strike. There you see the strikeout leaders, Major League Baseball strikeout leaders. David Cone on top. Melito Perez is 5th in Major League Baseball. 2-1. And the lead, Melito Perez is 3rd behind Randy Johnson and the Rocket. Johnson's got 215, Clemens 208, and Perez now, who's added 3, has 204. Just missed. 3-2.
You got a couple of pitchers tonight, Melito Perez and David Cone, that hitters don't exactly leave the bench running up to the batter's box. They both have quality stuff, pretty good idea where they're throwing it. You really have to get a mistake to hit a ball hard off.
Al Downing was the last New York Yankee to lead the American League in strikeouts. In 1964, when he had 217. Melito Perez obviously has a shot at it, depending on what he does tonight and in one more start. Toronto leading it here 2-0. Here at the top of the third, 1 down, nobody on. Alomar fighting it off on the 3-2.
Pretty good trade engineered by Gene Michael. Steve Sachs going over to the White Sox, actually having kind of a tough year this year, and the Yankees getting not only Melito Perez, but a young pitcher by the name of Bob Wickman that they're very high on, who's on the staff now after pitching in Columbus this year.
Yankee triumphant there. Off the fist, right center field. Ball is called off by Bernie Williams. Ball stayed up, 2 down.
Gary, one of the reasons the Blue Jays have had the improvement this year in the standings, you're looking at Dave Winfield and the DH. Last year, Toronto DHs hit .248, 5 homers, and 57 RBIs. They were 11th in runs, 4.2 per game in the American League. Look at the DH for 92, with Winfield spending the majority of the time there. They've averaged 4.8 runs. That's 2nd in the American League. So this man has made a huge difference in the Jays' offense this year.
Modern baseball history, the first 40-year-old to go over that 100 RBI mark. Cap Anson did it back in 1891. Nobody else until last night. Dave Winfield pushed it up to 103 runs batted in. He'll turn 41 on October 3. Winfield chops it foul, 0-2 on it.
Reading my baseball history books, Mr. Anson wasn't one of the nicer fellows around. But 3,000 hits, pretty good numbers, but he had the personality like the north end of a southbound skunk.
That's the modern era. From 1900 on, Darrell Evans coming the closest. That's fairly select company, wouldn't you say?
I would say. Darrell Evans, 1987. He had 34 home runs that year.
Wow. 0-2 the count. Perez breaking ball. They want to check it first. No, says Wilkie. Another number that Winfield has reached, playing in his 150th game of the season. He's now done that second consecutive year with the 40-year-olds. The only others to do that, Pete Rose did it twice, Honus Wagner twice, and Darrell Evans did it once. The way he's playing, he'll probably be talking about it when he reaches age 50.
He says he wants to play 2 or 3 more. He's kept himself in good shape. Remember way back when, opening day, back in Detroit, he started the season with a bit of a hamstring pull. Nobody knew if he was going to play opening day, and he said, whoa, I'm in there. He has been special this year. Again, the numbers, but the intangibles. I mean, the Blue Jays say, hey, when we see that old man out there taking the extra base, we can't do anything but play hard.
2 down, 2-2 delivery to Winfield. Again, the breaking ball misses, and Perez, who's working full counts in this game, has done it again. All 3 batters this inning, 3-2.
Or as they affectionately refer to David on the Blue Jays as, when we see Gramps out there busting his backside, we can't do any less.
And they actually will say that to him when he's having a good game. 3-2 count.
He remembers it, though, when the Kangaroo Court convenes.
Drives that one center field. Bernie Williams will be there. And Melito Perez retires the side in order. Here in the 3rd inning, Jays are gone. Yankees coming up at the 3rd, trailing 2-0.
As soon as I put down...
Made an impression this season. It's been a good one. Don't lose it in the final week of the year by getting sloppy. I think they hurt him.
It's kind of like E.F. Hutton when Felipe speaks. The Expos listen because he doesn't speak very often. That was the first clubhouse meeting he had since he took over the club, and that was prior to the Pittsburgh game on Wednesday night, actually Tuesday night after a loss to Philadelphia.
Charlie Hayes, the 3rd baseman for the New York Yankees. He's got a 4-game hit streak going, 8 hits in his last 15 at-bats. We talk about Yankees who will probably be protected. Charlie Hayes probably will be, although he's somebody they've got to make a decision on. They do not have anybody in the system right now to play 3rd base. Their promising 3rd baseman is a AA ball, hasn't played any AAA ball. So that looks like Hayes will be one of those who probably be protected and be back here for the Yankees, playing at 3rd base. He loves it here. He's really been rejuvenated in the Yankee uniform, and he's worked hard this season, putting up some good numbers, playing very decent 3rd base. That one bounces away as David Cone buries a couple in the dirt, and the count goes to 2 balls and 1 strike. You see the rain is continuing steadily to increase. Boom, off the glove. Hayes, the big cut, staying away from him. 2-2.
Yeah, they had a youngster you were referring to, Russ Davis, at Albany this year, 285, 22 home runs. So they think he's got a bright future, but they probably would like to play him a year at Columbus. See David Cone trying to kick the mud out of the spikes. It can get dangerous out there. If that mound gets slippery, that front foot doesn't land properly, you can pull a groin muscle.
And that'll take care. Charlie Hayes is asking whether or not it was in the strike zone. He's got his 3rd strikeout. David Cone, 1 away here in the 3rd.
Slider, no fair. Take it back, fastball. Thought it was a slider. First look, gas by.
Charlie Hayes really gives up the other part of the plate. National Hockey League action coming up here on ESPN. Our opening game will be the Philadelphia Flyers and the Pittsburgh Penguins. Mario and the Kid night. 2-time defending champion Pens hosting the bright young star, the Flyers' Hope, and Eric Lindros. We'll have that game to open it up. We'll be bringing you National Hockey League action all season. That'll be on Tuesday, October 6th, 7:30 Eastern and 4:30 Pacific. That's what it's like here tonight.
Can't bear to watch.
Tony's really working these right-handers down and away, and they're chasing 0-2.
I'll tell you what, I'm watching David Cone. He's giving me an 0 for 4 tonight. We watched Dennis Martinez on Wednesday night. I went 0 for 6 against him. I mean, these pitchers are getting me out, and I'm sitting a long ways from the action.
Mike Gallego got one inside that time, fouls it off. Because that's the great pitcher in him, is that as soon as he's got you leaning a little bit on the balls of your feet, he'll come right in and saw you right off at the hands with a good, solid fastball.
He's hit 9 this year, so if you were wondering why Charlie Hayes didn't exactly lean over the plate, he probably knows.
Gallego up the ladder and onto the roof. 4 strikeouts, David Cone. These 2 pitchers who are among the top 5, as you saw in Major League strikeouts, are going to add to it here tonight.
You're right. He took him right up the ladder. Gallego, Michael, this ball is on Bayou. You don't get much time to look at that high gas. That was 94.
Bernie Williams, who was called out on strikes his first time out. Going to join the illustrious group of center fielders who have worn a New York Yankees uniform. Bernie Williams getting the call-up this season at the end of July. And Chartable went on the DL. I love the way he plays the outfield. He's been on base in 20 straight games, batting .360 over that time frame.
Number 51, huh? That doesn't seem to go with 5 and 7, but as the equipment manager of the Yankees was saying, hey, we don't have too many options for numbers. I mean, 12 of them are retired.
It does begin to look like a football starting line. He can fly down the line, but not fast enough. Allemeyer gets him on the ground ball out. David Cone retires the side in order. He's set down the last 5 the Yankees that he has faced. Toronto leading it 2-0. Yankee Stadium, Gary Thorne, Dave Campbell. We've completed 3. There's your line. The Blue Jays getting the 2 runs in the second inning on a single by Pat Borders, who picked up the 2 RBIs. Yankees have had but 1 hit. 1 out in the first inning when Roberto Kelly got the single. Cone has walked 1, struck out 4. Perez hasn't walked anybody. He has struck out 3. John Olerud, who had a single his first time up, fouls that one off down the line. Strike 1. Big John, last 13 games, hitting only .213. The overall numbers up there at .287 on the season. Talk radio number 9, John Olerud. Nary a word. Tried to get him on an interview last week. A very personable young man. We tried to get him for an interview in Toronto. We were doing the game last week. And, he said, oh, yeah, I got to go out and stretch and then take my BP and I'll do it after. And he ran into the outfield and kind of hit around out there. Not to be unkind, just he's so quiet. Holy. 2-strike count on him. Fan lost the ball and didn't get it back. 0-2 delivery by Melito Perez. Melito thought he'd be pitching with his brother, Pascual Perez. That was the offseason big news for the Yankees. The brothers Perez. Nope. Unfortunately for Pascual, lots of personal problems. And his status and whether or not he'll be back next season remains one big question mark. For much of this year, folks haven't even known where he's been. Olerud takes the breaking ball down low. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Pascual continues to turn that fork ball over. See how that one goes down and away from a left-handed batter.
He got him. Went around. He'll be tagged out. And the strikeout picked up by Perez. And Melito's got his 4th strikeout of the game. One away in the 4th.
Let's go.
Well, this was the fork ball that came down and in, and Olerud could not hold off. So he gave him 1 down and away and another 1 down and in. Mike Stanley blocked it, tagged him out.
3rd in strikeouts, 7th in innings pitched, 6th in ERA, and 7th best opponent's batting average, all 4. Melito Perez, the opposition, hitting just .238 off him. He's 5-5 here at the stadium.
Well, you see that black area out in center field. That is the center field bleachers at Yankee Stadium. And Caldy Maldonado, who's in there right now, is only one of 5 men to reach that area since the reconstruction of the stadium. Reggie did it twice. Ken Singleton, Jay Buhner, and Mike Greenwell. And Caldy Maldonado did it earlier this year.
See the 408 mark, and then a lot of distance behind it. Pretty good space back there. 0-1 delivery. Maldonado takes it outside. 1 ball, 1 strike. 1 down, nobody on, 4th inning. Toronto 41-37 on the road this year, piling up 49 wins and only 27 losses at home. en route to another division title and the hopeful move on for them. The Yankees just trying to finish up strong. They have already won 2 more games than they did all of last year when they won 71. They feel they've got the nucleus of a good ball club.
Jay's kind of had the same idea as the Pittsburgh Pirates. Jay Bell was talking the other day, the Pirate shortstop, about formula for winning: have a great April, have a great September, and play steady baseball in between. Pirates did. Jays were 16-7 in the month of April. They're 15-7 in September, and they were fairly steady in between. The Pirates and Jays start fast and finish fast and keep your head above water in between.
That works. That's why we so often say, talk about games early on in April in particular. It really matters. You got to win early if you're going to be in there late. And as Dave says, winning teams do that. Shooting in the rain. 2-2 to Maldonado. And the count again is full. 3 balls and 2 strikes.
Leto throwing a lot of pitches. He's gone 3-2 to 4 of the last 5 hitters. Nobody's reached base yet, but that'll take a little bit off his arm as we get deeper into this game.
Threw 20 pitches in the 3rd inning in a 1-2-3 inning. That's what usually happens. That is his 5th strikeout. He has struck out both Olerud and Maldonado here in the 4th inning.
Teased him with a lot of breaking balls and then just threw the gas on by. Whoa.
He has had 11 strikeouts in a game twice this season. He did it against Chicago, and he did it at California. We are only in the 4th inning here, and he's already got 5. Kelly Gruber. Gruber scored in the 2nd inning when he had a single to get on and took second base on an errant throw by center fielder Bernie Williams, who missed the cutoff man going to 3rd, and it did matter as it ended up being a run when Pat Borders got both of them home. 0-1 delivery. 0-2.
He just had a chance to see both pitchers with the tongue depressor getting that mud out of their cleats. And the big reason for that is that they do not want to have that plant foot they land on give way. It's starting to get wet out here. And even though there's good play at Yankee Stadium on the mound, if that front foot gives way, you can pull a hamstring or a groin, whatever, you're going to be done for the night.
Gruber hitting .230 against the Yankees this year. Will not add to it on this one. Stanley will have to make the play. Goes to Mattingly. Strikeout. Put on going to the catcher on the throw. And a 1-2-3 inning, all K's from Alito Perez. And a miss continues to fall here, but thus far the only problem's been in the cleats. David Cone goes to work here, and he'll face Roberto Kelly, Mattingly, and Tarnable.
A lot of hot air coming from the swings right now as these pitchers are really dominating.
The only hit picked up by Kelly off Cone was the single. Outfield next year for the Yankees could be really exciting if their youngsters continue to develop. And if they can get Roberto Kelly comfortable in left field, Bernie Williams at center, probably a platoon in right, Gerald Williams and Mel Hall have a chance to share that. That's a long look ahead if they keep Hall.
You are looking at one of 2 New York All-Stars this year, David Cone, and the other one is at the plate, Roberto Kelly. How long has it been since the Mets and Yankees only had 1 All-Star?
A very down year for baseball fans around New York City. They couldn't even go to Philadelphia and find any help. Not that they would. 3-1 the count. And Cone surrenders his 2nd walk of the game. David Cone averaging 3.7 walks per game this season, above his career average, which coming into the season was below that 3 mark, and he's walked 2 in this one. That's the leadoff batter and the speedster, Roberto Kelly. Now the fans up for Don Mattingly. Mattingly hit into a fly ball double play his first time out. He flied out the bell. He had Kelly on at first, and he was running. Kelly had rounded second and couldn't get back in time. So the double play ended up 9-3. Mattingly hitting .293, 14 home runs, 84 RBIs. He's having a little trouble now, getting the batter's box to his comfort. ball hitting left field. Griffin, the shortstop, as the wind blows it in. And Mattingly's retired on one pitch.
Pretty good insurance policy for the Toronto Blue Jays. Alfredo Griffin, they signed him to a minor league contract. He made the club with a good spring, but even though Manny Lee had a brilliant year at shortstop, he may not be able to go to the postseason with a hamstring pulled behind his knee, and Alfredo Griffin gives him a lot of experience here, and he can still play a little bit.
And a real concern for them as far as that playoff roster will look like if they can get there that short. Back to first, Kelly. One down now. 2-0 lead for the Jays. And grounding out the first time up, Danny Tartabull. Tartabull at 265. Makes it up 5.
Mr. Tartabull had a pretty fair country evening against the Orioles a couple of weeks back. 5 for 5, 2 homers, 9 RBIs, and could have batted again, but Buck Showalter took him out. Could have had the chance at the Yankee all-time RBI record in the game.
There's a major league pop-up, and the wind's blowing it, and Olerud doesn't get a lot of room. He doesn't get enough.
That ball started in fair territory. That's how much the wind is swirling right now. But Tartabull had 9 RBIs with another at-bat. Showalter took him out. He said, I'm not a statistician. I didn't know Tony Lazzeri had 11 RBIs in the game.
You have to have somebody on the bench usually who's attuned to those sorts of things to help a manager. A manager's obviously not going to be concerned with those kinds of numbers. Not that he doesn't care about his players and would like to give them a chance, but that's just not what you're thinking about. 1 ball, 1 strike, 1 out. Tartabull was hit safely in 6. We'll wait as the throw goes to first. Danny 8 hits in his last 26 at-bats. Cone gets in to chase it. 1 ball, 2 strikes. David Cone coming off season last year. We had 14 wins. Already has 16 this year. 83 and 50 in his career, and he's working over there on Kelly. They've had 2 tay-to-tays. Each time Kelly's been on at first. 1-2 delivery. Not this time. 2-2.
Must have been a pretty decent Little League team they had down in Florida with Danny Tartabull, Jose Canseco, and Rafael Palmeiro.
Imagine that, only 1 team. Oh, the tag, not in time. Got that uniform dirty first time he was on when the throws came over, and Cone is keeping it up. 2-2, 1 out. Kelly not going. Toward short. Griffin. Alomar. Olerud. Safe. Pulling off the bag. They get the 1 at second base. Roberto Kelly retired on the forced play.
Looked like Olerud tried to buy it, be very cool about it. Let's take a look and see if we can see what happened here. Remember one thing, the ball is very wet, so Alfredo Griffin's going to make sure he's got a good grip on it. It's still wet when it gets to Alomar. Olerud tries to smooth it. Oh boy. That angle looked like he still had his foot on. How about this one? Looks good to me, folks. In defense of Tim Welke, he was closer.
So, runner on and 2 down. Let's see if not turning the double play matters here. Mel Hall stands in. Hall drew one of the 2 walks given up by David Cone in this game. Batting .279, 14 home runs on the year for Hall. Playing in his 145th game of the season. Bounced and stopped by Pat Borders. Ball 1.
Mentioned earlier in the game that David Cone, if he were entertaining thoughts about getting to join the Yankees, he set his sights on Ron Guidry's all-time strikeout record of 248 in the season. He's approaching that right now, but the Jays have never had a pitcher with 200 strikeouts in the history of their franchise.
1 ball, 1 strike. Pittsburgh with their lead over the New York Mets in Pittsburgh in that weekend series where they could wrap it up. And Oakland, they could wrap it up as well and had the number down to a couple. Milwaukee, of course, needing the wins to hang in, and they're 3.5 behind Toronto. 1-1 delivery. Mel Hall looks away, 2-1.
Chandler's wall.
Jays 6, A's 2, Pittsburgh 3, and Atlanta 5.
Strong pitch count also up. Early in the bottom of the 4th inning. He steps off. Tartable, rather, goes back to the bag. And Tartable, the runner at first. 2 ball, 1 strike count, 2 down. And Hall broke his bat on that. Otherwise, he might have had a dinger. Eric Bell hauls it in. That'll take care of Hall, and no runs. 1 left on, the leadoff walk, which generally will lead to a run in an inning, not this time.
In strikeouts, Gary.
Yeah, that would be an interesting story, and he's really got a pretty good shot at it. As you see, David Cone, who has struck out 4 now. Of course, those are added on in the American League total. There's his line. A couple of walks and 4 strikeouts. And has given up just the 1 Yankee hit to Kelly in the 1st inning. Melito Perez ready to go to work. Pat Borders, who had the big hit off him, the 2 RBI single to give Toronto that 2-0 lead in the 2nd inning, stands in here. Borders now has 4 hits and 7 at-bats against Perez in his career. Not a lot of at-bats, but he sure has the good numbers. May have foul-tipped that one. In any event, count goes to a ball and a strike. Borders has been a Yankee killer. He's batting only over .370 against the Yankees this season, and has picked up 8 RBIs against the Yankees. So certainly you're going to see him stay in the lineup when Toronto's playing the New York Yankees. Borders, Griffin, and Devon White, the leadoff batter, will be up against Melito. Up high by Perez, 3 balls and 1 strike. Rain has not stopped since this ball game started, but it has not increased very much in severity either. Held off outside of 3rd, off the tarp down there and into the seats. 3-2. Pat Borders in that 2nd inning and runners on at 2nd and 3rd with 2 down. That's called clutch hitting. And this is what he did. He hit it into the cement, and away it went. Not this time. 7 strikeouts now for Perez, 1 away here in the 5th inning.
4 in a row, and I think after Melito Perez saw Borders turn on that 3-1 fastball, he said, Pat, you're not getting the gas pedal, you're getting the forkball. Borders had a pretty bad swing.
Borders retired 1 away. Borders this season striking out only his 72nd time, having drawn 31 walks to go with it. Griffin also singled in that 2nd inning, was left stranded. 2 left on thus far by Toronto, a couple left on by the Yankees. Yankees have not had anyone in scoring position, however. Off the fist, second base. Mike Gallego, the former Oakland A's. 2 down. Thomas Mees.
Hi, Gary. Greg Maddux of the Cubs going for his 20th win tonight. Helps himself. The rotation play is on as Maddux squared around the bunt. Where's the shortstop? He was on his way to 3rd. Maddux singles to left. Wilkins scores. Bottom line, Cubs lead the Expos by a score of 2-0. In the 5th, Cubs win, and Greg Maddux will rack up his 20th victory and maybe a Cy Young nomination.
We're sure going to get some votes. Tommy Glavine's the only 20-game winner in the National League right now. Ken Hill of Montreal has picked up 16. Tewksbury, Dennis Martinez all have 16. They're going to get enough starts to reach that 20 mark. Griffin back on the bench after popping out. 2 down, nobody on. 2-0 lead for Toronto, and Devon White at the plate. Takes it down low. 2 balls and no strikes. He's 0 for 2.
It's kind of interesting to see the Expos with a wheel play. Earlier this year, Ken Hill thought a wheel play was on, through to third base, and nobody was there. Felipe Alou said, we don't have a wheel play. Well, they obviously have one now, but it didn't work again.
Bernie Williams in center field. And that will retire White, who's 0 for 3. Ledo Perez retires the side in order, which he's done now for the last 3 innings.
Plate, here he is on the mound pitching. This is Sean Berry. Berry hits one down the line. Now running is Spike Owen. And Spike Owen thinks he got a chance to score. Here he comes chugging around third. Here comes the relay. He barrels into Rick Wilkins. Ball is loose. Spike Owen is safe. Cubs lead it 2-1, Gary.
Ow. Derek Bell leading it off here. David Cohn. Velarde, rather, leading it off. David Cohn with a couple of walks and 4 strikeouts. Velarde takes that slider away. 1 ball, 1 strike. It'll be for the Yankees. Velarde, Stanley, and Hayes. 6, 7, 8. 288 on the year for the Yankee shortstop. Inside corner. 1 and 2.
Both pitchers not giving in tonight. Throwing breaking balls behind in the count. Breaking balls ahead in the count. Tough.
Conehead's way behind in the count. Fouled off out of play into the rain. Count holds at 1 and 2.
Brain cell count.
Hey, as long as they're enjoying it. 1-1. You can't watch, sleep.
That group paid more to get in there than this island of Manhattan cost.
Hotel would have been cheaper. 1-2. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
What they sell Manhattan for? $24?
And trinkets.
And trinkets. Okay. Cab ride out here was more than that today.
2 and 2. Oh, he had him fooled. Whatever he was looking for, that wasn't it. A little half swing as Velarde goes down swinging. 5 strikeouts now for David Cohn, who likes to have options on where he'll be next season. He's got all kinds of them as he's going to be the free agent, and this is one of them at Yankee Stadium.
Well, at first, I thought it's going to be kind of fun to have this opportunity. You know, you play professionally for 12 years and 6 on the major league level, and you work your whole career to get in this position. And now all of a sudden, I was kind of taken back by the trade. And I guess deep down, I thought maybe things would work out with the Mets, but it didn't happen. Now I've got a tough decision to make. And, fortunately, I don't have to make that decision right now. I can put it off and then consider all the options when the time comes.
He really didn't think the Mets were going to trade him. Just was convinced it wasn't going to happen.
Well, but Dave didn't think the Red Sox were either.
Stanley takes the delivery from David Cohn. 2 balls, no strikes.
See that breaking ball, the Yankee hitters aren't picking up the spin on it very well. Stanley starting to lean back.
And he's behind on the count here. 3 balls and no strikes. Right-handers against Cohn this year, batting only .211. Left-handers sitting at .231. He's given up 14 home runs, 10 of them to the lefties. And he's struggling in the rain here. Got to get official. Bottom half of the 5th inning. 3-0. Missed inside. There's the 3rd walk given up in the game by Cohn with 1 down here in the 5th inning. Stanley is on.
You know, pitchers, one of the things they always want to do is try to throw strike 1. For Cohn, it's been kind of a dichotomy. When hitters have swung at the first pitch and put it in play, they've hit .333. But when he goes 0-1 on hitters, they only hit .170. So getting that first strike in really makes a difference for David Cohn.
Not happy with the ball forward. Hayes, who had trouble with that pitch his first time up. That's that hard slider down and away. Hayes struck out his first time up swinging on that very pitch you just saw him go after. 4 strike 1. 4-game hit streak for Hayes. 8 hits in his last 16 at bats. 257 on the year. Runner at first base. Hayes represents that potential tying run now with Toronto up 2-0. The Yankees still have only one hit.
Tim Tashida sitting up in seats.
1-1. Towering fly ball to left. Not particularly deep. That's tough to catch in the rain. Maldonado. Oops. He almost dropped it and then almost fell. That will bother the umpires. When you start seeing that stuff going on, that's when people get hurt. Levon White comes over to say, hey, nice job.
Did this thing pop out or were my lying eyes? Yes. Ooh. Yes. Have that big webbing, guys. The glove can be 12 inches from the heel to the tip, and it can be utilized all of it.
2 down. Stanley remains at first base. Maldonado looking down at that outfield grass. Off speed to Gallego and that breaking ball away. That's his pitch tonight. David Cohn's got that one working.
I saw Mike Gallego earlier this year when the Yankees were out in Oakland. I was sitting talking to him after a game, and I said, congrats on the contract. He says, yeah, ain't baseball a great game.
One pitch. Came inside to him and missed a ball and a strike. 2 down, 1 on. 2-0 lead for Toronto. They really want to get this game in, because tomorrow that storm is supposed to come to New York full force over the night and into tomorrow. They're saying rain all day tomorrow. Toronto doesn't want to have to come back. Toronto still has 2 days off, incredibly. They've got one on Thursday, which would be the day they could come back here for a makeup game if necessary. 1-2 delivery by Cohn. Gallego fooled again. Boy, that's 6 strikeouts for David Cohn, and you got 2 of them in this inning, and no question about fooling Gallego. A little help from Maldonado in the outfield, too. Bill Gaston's Toronto Blue Jays looking to wrap it up and get on with it. NC Oakland A's. Magic number at 6. Derek Bell will lead it off. We go to the 6th inning. They put the drying agent around. You see the white splotches on the field where the dirt is. It's that chemical drying agent to absorb the water. Bell is struck out and grounded out. Alomar and Winfield will follow 2, 3, 4 in the order for Toronto.
How about those Brewers? Eldred and Bazio have won 19 straight between them. They just won't give up the chase. Ricky Bonas going tonight against the A's.
That's what we were talking about earlier. A little better start. A little better hold up in the middle. And they might very well be in first place themselves if they'd been able to do that, but they didn't. Toronto did.
A little earlier call-up for Cal Eldred wouldn't have hurt either.
Boy, oh boy. Numbers. Lashed by Perez. Trying to put his arms up, protect himself on that one. Ernie Williams will get it back in. Derek Bell is on with a single, leading off the 6th inning. 5 hits for the Jays.
Well, Derek Bell keeps that front shoulder in and kind of pulls the arms in and whistles it back through the middle. Keep an eye on Robbie Alomar right here. I think he probably will lay down some kind of a bunt. Alomar has not had real good swings at Melito Perez, and Robbie might dump it down. Worst case scenario is he advances Bell to second, gets credit for a sacrifice bunt.
Alomar is 3 for 13 lifetime against Perez. Mattingly slapping the tag on at first.
16 runners have been thrown out when Melito Perez has pitched this year. He also is 5th in the American Major Leagues in throwing over to first base, so he gives his catchers a chance.
Perez had retired 10 in a row prior to the single leading off this inning. First hit since the 2nd for the Blue Jays. Alomar checking at third. Hacker, the third base coach, relaying the signs to him. 1-0 count. Good lead at first base. Derek Bell. Throw it away, and it bounces into the seats. Well, that'll take care of the bunt. Down to second base on the error on the throw by Melito Perez goes Derek Bell.
9 errors for Melito Perez. That leads all major league pitchers, and that's the bad side of he holds runners well. 16 out of 32 have stolen, the 16 thrown out, but 9 errors. That's not good.
You almost almost got the feeling on that Dave Bell was just challenging him to throw the ball over.
Yeah, Melito went, oh! Bad throw.
He invited him to throw it away, and he did. Still, Hayes moves in at third base, figuring Alomar might try and move him up on the bunt. Alberto takes it up high, 2-0.
Generally, in this situation, Robbie Alomar has to decide in his own mind if he thinks he can pull Melito Perez. Robbie sprays the ball around, but in this situation, if he thinks he can get a pitch to pull off Melito, he'll go ahead and swing away. If some guy's out there with a great sinker ball down and away, then he's liable to pull a bunt up the right side.
2-0 delivery to Alomar. Talk about some big numbers. Alomar over 300 both ways. 322 right-handed and 308 left-handed. 5 home runs right, 2 of them left. Still no score in Milwaukee, where Oakland's trying to whittle it down and maybe put it away. Rain delay there, Minnesota, and home against KC. 3-0 count, no movement.
That's your best time to put on that wheel play. 3 balls, no strikes. Very unlikely Derek Bell is going to go anywhere. You're not going to catch somebody 3 balls and no strikes in that situation with nobody out.
Is taking here. 3 balls, 1 strike.
One thing the Jays have done better, especially under Larry Heisel, batting coach this year, is they have 5 players with career highs in base on balls. Robbie Alomar is one of them. They've become a much more patient hitting team. You see Heisel with the glasses on in the middle. He's talked about selectivity and getting your pitch. It started to pay off for this club this year.
Alomar 10th in walks in the league with 84. Left center field. Again, the wind blows it over. Roberto Kelly was called off by Williams. Had the better angle if Bell had any idea about trying to go, but he didn't. 1 away.
See, that's one of the differences in baseball. With pitchers coming up with the split finger pitches and the curves and all this, guys have become straightaway hitters. But in that situation, ahead in the count 3-1, Robbie Alomar has to get the bat head out front and pull that ball. I mean, he's a great player, but still, fundamentally, he didn't get the job done.
Talk about that so much because we see it so much.
Well, there are very few pure pull hitters left in baseball anymore. And the reason for that is the assortment of pitches. If you're a dead pull hitter, you're going to be about a 215 hitter. But there are certain situations that still demand that you hit a ball to a certain side of the infield.
Dave Winfield. He's got the RBI opportunity. Bell on at second base, 1 out. Winfield 0 for 2, batting at .293. Could add to his RBI total. Pickoff at second base with Mike Gallego moving over. Did you see last night the wheel play to third, fake to third, look to first, worked for the New York Mets?
Missed it.
Jeff Innes had Langford at first base and somebody at third in extra innings. It's that move where you fake the throw to third, turn to first. He was the most surprised person on the field. Langford broke for second, and he threw down and actually threw him out at second base. That's about the second time in my lifetime that I have ever seen that work.
Well, Ray Langford, according to Dave's statistics, that was the 23rd time he's been caught stealing this year. That leads the National League. So Innes had a good pigeon.
Winfield, he didn't want to go after that. Halfway through the swing, he didn't want to go after that. 1 strike count on him, 1 out. Gallego holding the runner close at second base. Feel that win. 0-2.
David have a good hack. Big guy got one he kind of liked. That's right in his wheelhouse. He likes that ball about thigh high, and he's been known to hit a few line drives. But Perez has been throwing him so many breaking balls that I think he got that fastball past Winfield.
It was an 86-mile-an-hour fastball by Perez. Not one of his heaters for him, but good fastball. 0-2, runner goes down low, and Stanley will look and say, whoa, stolen base, Derek Bell.
Derek putting himself well tonight, came up with a great catch, albeit on a ball he misjudged in right field and may have saved a run early, and steals a big base where he can get position to score on a sacrifice fly. You see the great jump he had, and Stanley knows no chance.
That's 5 stolen bases for Derek Bell, and thrown out twice. Now the infield is moving in. 1-2, 1 out, 2-0 Jays. In Winfield in for Winfield. That can make your heart rip. He didn't go around, says Will Kitburg. Sure do.
He held it.
I'd like to be playing third base and be asked to move in. 2-2 delivery. That's it.
Especially on a damp infield where the ball's really going to scoot. Think about wearing one of those mouthpieces to begin with, or make sure your dental insurance is well paid.
2 balls, 2 strikes, Winfield with 1 out. He's going after his 104th RBI with Bell down there. Cecil Fielder leading the league still with 119. Joe Carter out of the game tonight. 112 for the Jays, his second best. Winfield 8.
My favorite was playing in Wrigley Field with Billy Williams up with that lip of the infield right in front of him. That was really a treat.
2-2 under the chin. Full count.
That's what makes Ryan Sandberg's fielding records, I think, even more impressive. The standpoint that field in Chicago is one of the toughest to play defense on. Winfield gets bent back.
Lito and Dave Winfield will go 3-2. Winfield stays drawn in here. And a tremendous drop pitch right off the table. Strikes out Winfield. That's 8 Ks from Alito Perez.
Well, I certainly figured he'd see the forkball after he got the fastball under the chin, but if you're a hitter, you're never quite sure. Watch the way this thing falls off the table. Wow. He took something off that forkball as well. Changed speeds, started it high in the zone, ended up about knee high, and Dave Winfield looked like he was chopping for firewood for the winter on that swing.
Alito's doing it the hard way. 7 times he's gone 3 balls, and he hasn't walked anybody yet. And has he 8 strikeouts, but he's going to put up an intentional one right here in John Olerud and work to Candy Maldonado. Runners will be at first and third.
In case you're wondering about the numbers, Olerud is 2 for 8 lifetime. Maldonado is 3 for 18. So Buck Showalter, with those numbers in hand, will play the percentages. Candy Maldonado hitting 167, Olerud 250 against Melito.
He will take the risk of hitting even a good road batter stand in there, though.
Yeah, but what does he do when it's 60 degrees and 78% humidity on a fairly damp night? What do the stats show on that?
We're going to find out.
We got something for everything, folks. Next year we'll have temperature variance. They actually did. Stats Inc. came out a couple of years ago with what hitters hit with a temperature below 50 degrees and above 90. And I think I could have told them before they did it that the guys, when it's below 50, don't hit too well.
Oh, gosh. Toronto with a 2-0 lead. Trying to add to it. 2 down. Candy Maldonado, who is 0 for 2. Will try and make the strategy backfire. Perez to him, and it's outside for a ball. 63 runs batted in for Maldonado on the season. He has struck out 106 times. Runners at the corners for the Jays. Stranded only 2 in the game. 1-0 delivery. He's behind on the count, 2-0.
I think if memory serves me from that stat that Eddie Murray was the worst temperature under 50. So you rotisserie leaguers out there, trade Murray before the season starts, but about June, get him back again.
Maldonado is going to look for one right here. 2 balls, no strikes. That's towards second base. Diego moves over and makes the play, and that'll do it. So the strategy works. Maldonado unable to come through. A hit and a walk, and 2 are left on. David Cohn heading back out with a 2-0 lead.
Cubs lead.
Cub lead.
Holy cow.
Blue Jays are leading here 2-0 as we go to the bottom half of the 6th inning. They come out between all half innings here and put that drying agent out for the reasons you see. It has been raining lightly since the start of the game.
Is that the kid Mattingly stole the popcorn from the other week?
Right there.
The kid will come to every game, probably the rest of his life. Was that a great shot or what?
That was unbelievable. Well, here's Mr. Williams. Leadoff batter Bernie Williams, 0 for 2. Kelly and Mattingly will follow. Yankees down, still have only one hit, squared around. He did go after it. Mostly trying to get out of the way after Cone delivered it. Strike one.
I got the note of the year on Bernie Williams. 1,144 Yankees have donned the uniform of the Bronx Bombers. He is the only man ever born on Friday the 13th. Now there's a stat for you.
That is pretty amazing, huh? September 13. 24 years old. David Cone delivers to him, and it's taken inside. Bernie Williams, the opportunity to play at the major league level had never come his way until last year. He got in 85 games, hit .238. Columbus AAA last year, and again half of this year. Strike called on him. 1 ball, 2 strikes. He's put it together this season. They love the way he plays defense. He can cover it all in the outfield. And 282 batting average, obviously very respectable.
Cubs tie.
Oops. 1-2 delivery. That's a clean base hit into right field. He pulled that one. Derek Bell gets it back in, only the second hit. The other one came in the first inning. And the leadoff man is on for the second time in this game against Cone.
David making it tough for himself. The only guys getting on are the speed burners, Kelly and Bernie Williams. What he'd like here is the ground ball. Roberto Kelly has hit into 18 double plays this year. That's the top 5 in the American League. George Bell leads with 27.
Williams has now gotten on base in 21 straight games for the Yankees. Roberto Kelly, who had the other hit to get out of an 0 for 9 in the first inning, has been on both times he's been up with a walk the second time. Batting .272 on the season, outside for a ball. 2-0 Toronto, but Yankees threatening again.
They have the tying run at the plate with a guy named Don Mattingly standing on deck. So David Cone wants to go to work. Clete Boyer, former great third baseman here. Clete looks a little chilly.
Kind of gloves we're used to seeing Clete Boyer wear there.
Yep. Cletus, one of the managers of the now defunct Senior League. Sounded like a good idea.
Yeah, it did. Saturation may have been reached.
Yeah.
1 ball, 1 strike. Holding close at first, Williams.
I thought Cletus put it in perspective, though. He said, we don't need a trainer down here. We need a paramedic. So that probably was ultimately the demise of the Senior League. A lot of injuries. Not like golf. Golf, you keep that swing, you can keep hacking away, as certainly has been proven by the great senior tour. But baseball, too many pulled muscles.
1-1, check swing, foul ball back into the seats. And a 1 ball, 2 strike count. Cone, 3 walks and 6 strikeouts in this game, trying to protect that lead. Cito Gaston's team wanting to put this thing away, obviously, as soon as they can, so they can get to work on playoffs. Not that they're not doing it now, making plans, but it's so much easier when you officially got it done.
Well, if the Jays do win their division, I think for the first time, maybe since 1985, they go in as the favorite. And that was kind of a toss-up series with Kansas City. They had that 3-1 before they let the cat out of the bag, and the Royals came back on it.
Going to the 1-2 pitch. Down low, 2 balls, 2 strikes on Kelly.
I think one thing the Jays would like to do is get Juan Guzman back in the same kind of groove he was early. He's pitched okay, but he hasn't been the dominating pitcher that he was earlier on. And Jack Morris has lost his last 2 starts as well.
That one hard to center field. White on the sinking line drive. In the right position, and Kelly's retired. But Cone finally gets him back to first, goes Williams. 10 Can't hit it much harder, but an atom ball. One away. Don Mattingly up. 0 for 2. 293 batting average. Mattingly still one of the best contact hitters in baseball. He has struck out only 40 times this year in 605 at-bats.
Saw Bob Baylor, the outfield instructor of the Blue Jays, moving Derek Bell back a couple of steps in right field.
Fifth hardest to K, Mattingly. The back has taken away a lot of the power, home run power that he had. He has 14 this season, but if he gets a ball on the inside part of the plate that he can turn on, he can still whack it. 314 on that short porch here at Yankee Stadium. That one bounces away down to second base. Goes Bernie Williams. Wild pitch delivered by David Cone.
Breaking ball down. Borders didn't really block it with his body. He kind of tried to glove that. You see him not dropping the body down and smothering it. So Bernie Williams becomes the first Yankee to get the scoring position down to second base tonight.
Go that way, said Mattingly. Traffic cop. Third wild pitch delivered by Cone in the 6 starts he's had with Toronto. Runner at second base. Yankees trying to get one on the board here. Fans applauding for Mattingly. Bernie Williams, the base runner.
Cone's got to remember the signs. First time he's had a runner at second base when the signs get changed. Better go out and tell him, Pat.
Be sure.
Yeah.
Deciding on what they want to throw here as well while they're talking.
Cito working on that gum.
Being a good contact hitter, you'd expect him to be strong in clutch situations, and as you see, he is. Boy, what a really fine year for Don Mattingly. 2-0 count, one away. Mattingly's got the base hit, left center field. Late break by Bernie Williams, but he'll score easily. Mattingly will hold at first as Devon White gets it in. And it's a 2-1 lead now for the Jays as Don Mattingly gets his 85th RBI, his 178th hit.
Well, David Cone went away from him, but Don Mattingly hit it up the alley in left center field. Might have had a double, but Devon White got it back in. Coming into this season, Don Mattingly had knocked in 35.5% of men in scoring position. That's the tops of all active major leaguers. He can hit in the clutch. Yes, homage to Don.
Well, Yankee fans may be wet, but getting a little wild, too, here, because the Yankees have come back now and have the potential tying run on it first with one away. Danny Tarnable, the 0 for 2. Cone will try and get the ground ball for the double play. Tarnable has grounded into 6 double plays this season. Neither of these runners, Mattingly the runner, or Tarnable the batter, fleet of foot. 1-0. Yankees here at Yankee Stadium this season, 40-38. Getting above the 500 mark. Last season they were below it, 39-42 at home, which doesn't happen very often to a Yankee team. Tim Wilkie saying no, it did not go around. 2-1 the count on Tarnable.
I wonder if Danny Tarnable ever could play a full season. He has 23 home runs, 82 RBIs, 93 walks, and has only played in 114 games. If he could ever go to the 160 plateau, he might put up some unbelievable numbers.
2-1. There it is again. That's been his bread and butter pitch tonight. Working away from the right-handers. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
It's okay to work away to Tarnable if you get it down, but if you get it up, he has great power to right center field. Get it down there, you're going to get him.
2-2 delivery. Came inside, and Borders One hands that one, and the count's full. 3-2. Runner at first, 1 out. Yankees with a run in here in the bottom of the 6th inning.
Well, he went away. Now he comes back in. You sitting at home, if you're the catcher, what do you put down? Slider? Be my guess, but I don't have to sit there and worry about a fastball coming inside of me up here.
3-2. Runner not going, and he'll foul back.
From a heater. Got the fastball by him. It was in the middle of the plate. Danny going, ooh.
Down to third, fouled off, right off the end of the bat as Cohen went back outside on him. We'll do 3-2 for the third time. Not a pleasant evening at the ballpark for anybody, players or fans. It was a good ball game. Toronto leading 2-1. Got him. He just tied him up. Body froze. 7 strikeouts for David Cone. 2 down. Tom Mees.
All right, Gary Budweiser takes us to County Stadium, Milwaukee. 1 run on Kevin Seitzer. Home run number 5 of the year into the night in Boggs Valley at County Stadium. And the Brewers are not going easily, are they? They lead Dave Stewart and the A's 2-0 in the 6th. Back to New York.
Some excited fans, aren't they? They've won 8 out of their last 10 to hang 3.5 behind Toronto. And keep an eye on the Yankee game tonight. 2 down here with a runner on at first base. Mel Hall 0 for 1 and a walk.
David Cone's got to try to keep this ball away from Mel Hall. Mel's got decent power the opposite way, but with that wind blowing in, I don't think he can hit it out in left or left center.
Walk by Waters. 2 balls, no strikes. Don Mattingly with the RBI single, the base runner at first. Almost blowing more in than it is now towards right field. Steady wind all day today here in metropolitan New York area. 20 to 30 mile-an-hour gusts. 2-0 delivery. 3 balls and no strikes on Hall.
But I'll tell you one thing, Mel Hall's got a flashing green light right here. I think Pat Porter's going to go out and remind David Cone of that. And here comes Galen Cisco out. Cito Gaston says, go out and tell him that Mel Hall's going to be hacking here. I think Cone may be aware of it, but when you get to this point in the season, you just want to be sure that everybody's on the same wavelength. You got a right-handed hitter, Randy Velarde, on deck. And you just don't want to groove one to Mel Hall. 3 balls, no strikes, and 2 outs, because he'll hack if he likes it.
Hall has picked up 7 home runs here at home, half of his home run total coming here at Yankee Stadium. Always a danger with that power that he's got to do some real damage. Yankees have used the home run like the Toronto Blue Jays have this season. New York's 3rd in the league in homers. Toronto's 2nd. Detroit, of course, 1st in the long ball. Cisco completes his conversation. 3-0 count. Cone looks at Mattingly at first. 4 walks in the game now, given up by David Cone, putting 2 on in the 6th with 2 outs for Randy Velarde. Tom Mees.
All right, Gary, let's go back under the dome where it's dry. A 2-2 game, Twins and Royals, and here's Pedro Munoz going to right field with a double, scoring Kirby Puckett. It was Kirby's 2-run single that tied the game. Now Puckett scores what is now the leading run. The Twins try to hang on with their fingernails back to the stadium.
Well, let's see now whether David Cone can get out of this one. Foul ball. Velarde on the check swing. 2 down and 2 on. Toronto up 2-1.
Now, David Cone wasn't going to give Mel anything good to hit. Bullpen starts to go. Mark Eichhorn up. Randy Velarde, though, has been a hot hitter second half. 335 since the All-Star break. So Cone's got to bear down to get him here. He has struck out Velarde twice, but he wasn't going to give in to Mel Hall.
Velarde 302 with runners in scoring position. Very strong numbers. The Yankee shortstop. Better than his 287 overall. He throws that at all kinds of different speeds. That's what makes that pitch doubly tough to try and line up on. He'll throw it hard and down, soft and down, medium and down.
Put yourself in Velarde. Here he comes, sidearm, boom. Just explodes. You think it's there, and all of a sudden, boom, it disappears.
0-2 the count. Mattingly at second base. Hall at first. 1-2. Going up to 250 strikeouts. He had 241 last year. Now 250 this year to lead the majors in strikeouts. 1-2 delivery. And another. 8 strikeouts in the game as Velarde goes down swinging 3 times now. Velarde has struck out, and he leaves 2 on.
ESPN Major League Baseball is brought to you by Bud Dry. For a beer that's refreshingly different, try Bud Dry.
Yankee Stadium in New York. Gary Thorne and Dave Campbell, thanks very much for coming on with us here tonight. And there's your line score through the first 6 innings. A very good baseball game. A couple of runs picked up by the Jays. Pat Porter's 2 RBI single came in the second inning. The Yankees getting one in their half of the 6th.
The house that Ruth built. And as Franz Litz, one of the writers for, I believe, Sports Illustrated once said, the house that ruthlessness tried to tear down. But hey, all's well. George will be back next year. Right?
They're saying now maybe November. They're working on the field here, as they have been between each half inning. There you see the chase in the East. Milwaukee, 3.5 out. Baltimore 6. Red Sox and Baltimore postponed. Raining down there by the Inner Harbor. Milwaukee still got their lead on Oakland. And this game, of course, being watched there, with Toronto leading 2-1. Cito Gaston's team won it last year by 7 games. 3.5 up right now.
.570 winning percentage since Cito Gaston took over the club back in 1989. Pretty good. Nobody else in Major League Baseball has that good a winning percentage currently for their career. But then again, Jimmy Williams, who managed the club prior to Cito, had a .540 winning percent and bit the bullet. Nothing but going to the World Series is going to satisfy the Jay fans. They've been too close for too many years.
Kelly Gruber leading it off. Fair ball. Play made by Stanley. Gruber's retired. He's 1 for 3 now as we are in the 7th inning. 1 down.
Mike Stanley made the club as a non-roster man in the spring and has quietly put together an excellent second half and figures very strongly in the Yankee plans, at least as a backup next year. So he's worked into the picture. He and Matty Noakes and Jim Leyritz, the 3 catchers, have hit 30 home runs and knocked in 89 runs as a catching trio. That's better than any catching spot in the major leagues.
Matt Noakes is one of those people who may not get protected. He has a chance he's going to be available to the expansion teams. He's got a $5 million contract over a couple of years, and the Yankees in their meeting in Florida, his name was brought up. No final decisions have been made on who's going to be protected and who isn't. I tell you, those expansion teams are going to have some very legitimate major league players to pick from.
They are indeed. It's going to be how deep they want to go in the wallet and what their game plan is. If they want to go the route of young players and develop your own right from the get-go, that's one way. If you want to try to drum up some fan enthusiasm right from the get-go, you may go for a couple of veterans that could help you.
Waters, who had the big hit in the second inning, the single and 2 RBIs. Struck out his last time up. 2 ball, 1 strike count, 1 away. There are the names mentioned at this point that you would know of players who probably won't be protected. The gap left center field. And I mean a gapper. Split him right in 2. Roberto Kelly over to get it. Bobbled. He and Bernie Williams have trouble with it. Going into second base with an easy double is Pat Porters, who's now 2 for 3. Came into this game 4 for his last 30, making up for it here. Bernie Williams hitting back to center.
The Jays would like to get that 2-run cushion back. They surrendered 1 run. Borders gets a fastball middle of the plate and hammers it pretty well. That wind really beat this ball down to the point where Bernie Williams grabbed it on the first hop there. He might have been able to hold Borders, who was not running hard because of the wet turf. Maybe it could have held him to a long single.
Borders has 25 doubles this year. Second base, 1 out. And Griffin with the RBI chance in at first and third for the bunt, which he shows. Takes it, ball 1.
Well, with 1 out, obviously wasn't sacrificing. Just going to try to push something along third or first base sign and beat it out for a hit.
Six hits for Toronto and 3 for the Yankees. See Hayes at third. He moves in on the grass on the pitch from Melito Perez. That one jumped on to right field, not deep over near the stands. Mel Hall, oops, no room. Tried to go up and over, but he wouldn't have been close.
Will Mel be here next year? He doesn't really want to. He wants out.
He'd like to go somewhere where he's going to get to play regularly in the outfield. Hensley Bam Bam Mullins, one of the rising prospects 4 years ago, is also one of those who probably won't be around, and he wants out. Chance to play. 1-1 pitch. He went after it. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Borders back to second.
Mullins is one of those guys who's done just about everything you can at AAA. He hit 26 home runs, 100 RBIs this year. But that gulf between AAA and the big leagues, he hasn't been able to bridge it. Maybe the Yankees aren't going to give him enough of a shot to do that, but I think somebody will give him a chance somewhere.
Too much power not to. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Melito Perez going over the 100 pitch mark here in the 7th inning. Alfredo Griffin tries to just sock that thing in the left field. Couldn't get it there. Count stays 1-2.
6 ball in the side pocket for Alfredo there. That was a cue shot.
And picking that one up. An expansion draft. 8 American League teams that'll lose 3 players. 6 of them are going to lose 2. And everybody's drawing up their lists. Dave will be there to tell you all about it on expansion draft day. That one towards the middle. Not hit very hard, but hard enough. Making the turn, Borders. Relay throw to the plate. He is on the plate and is safe. Pat Borders just barely made it in. It was no collision. It was a question of would he have enough drag. It'll be a single and an RBI.
I tell you, if Stanley holds on to the ball, I think Borders is out. But Mike dropped the ball and looked like Borders just had the edge of his toe on the plate. That was kind of an ugly play. Alfredo doesn't hit it very hard. Gallego gets there to knock it down, but it deflects. But good hustle by Velarde. He picks it up, throws a pretty good strike to the plate. They got him, but the ball's going to pop out of Stanley's glove, as you can see it right there. He tries to pick it up and tag him again, but too late.
Borders hesitated.
Pat, get that Steinway off your back. 131 games he's caught this year, and it's starting to take its toll on Borders' legs.
It is a 3-1 lead for Toronto. Alfredo Griffin getting just his 9th run batted in of the year on what was just barely a hit. And he went down to second base on the play at the plate. Still only 1 out, and by going down to second base, he creates the better RBI opportunity for Devon White, who's 0 for 3. White, who has 59 runs batted in. Pick off at second. Perez got him! Randy Velarde, the shortstop, moved in on the timing play, and Griffin's gone.
Boy, Melito was really quick back to second base. Velarde blocked him off, and Alfredo gets hung out to dry. He threw it right down where Velarde's glove was, and Alfredo couldn't make it back. Had to be a perfect throw to get him, and it was.
That is the 9th pickoff by Melito Perez this season. 2 down, bases empty, and fouled off outside of third base by Devon White.
The good, the bad, and the ugly for Melito. 9 pickoffs, 16 runners thrown out, stealing bases out of 32 attempts, but 9 throwing errors as well. Never a dull moment when Melito goes to the bases.
One of the things that's happened to Melito Perez, in the games he's pitched, there have been 15 unearned runs scored against him. You'd say, well, geez, he's not getting much support from his teammates, but the fact of the matter is he's one of the primary culprits contributing to the unearned runs for the errors he commits. His pickoff attempts at first, put a runner at second. 1-1.
Last year, the Yankees only had 3 complete games the whole year. This year, Melito Perez by himself has 9. But unfortunately for Melito, he's 2-7 in his 9 complete games.
Can you believe that? 1-2 breaking ball, tapped to second base, Mike Gallego. Nice scoop made by Don Mattingly. That'll do it as White is retired here, but in the 7th inning, the Borders one-out doubled. Then Alfredo Griffin with his hopper that just had enough to go by the second baseman Gallego, and Borders, who just ran hard enough just to get in. ESPN takes you into the final week of the 92 baseball season. Boston and Toronto on Tuesday. We'll kick it off at 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific time from Toronto. And that'll be followed by the Milwaukee Brewers taking on the Seattle Mariners at 10:30 Eastern or 7:30 Pacific. Our doubleheader coming up on Tuesday night. Gary Thorne, Dave Campbell, 7th-inning stretch time at Yankee Stadium. 3-1 lead for the Jays. They've out-hit the Yankees 7-3. The Yankees coming up, rain coming down harder. They're going to try and push this game through. This gets a little touchy right now. Jim cheated a home plate umpire, having the grounds crew out, put that drying agent down between every half inning. Powering fly ball to left again in the rain by Stanley. Maldonado called off by Devon White, who had a few problems without the windshield wipers. Tom Nees.
Hi, Gary. Budweiser takes us to County Stadium in Milwaukee. Robin Yount lays down the bunt here. Paul Molitor was a base runner. Now, Dave Stewart never should have thrown it. He does. Yount is given second base. Molitor is given home plate. The Brewers add another on a Greg Vaughn single. Brujas hanging in there, leading at 4-0 in the 7th.
Case of the uglies. Bottom half of the 7th inning. One down.
I'll tell you what, Mike Stanley did not come within 30 feet of the fence, but with no wind, that ball is out of here. That ball was crushed, and the wind just beat it back in. Devon White went over easily, made the play. As you said, though, the windshield wipers, maybe I shouldn't say easily. He was having trouble with the wind and the rain trying to find that thing.
Any ball hit the left field and center probably, too. Not going anywhere tonight. Grounded to short. Griffin. Olerud can't get it. It's tough out there. They're going to call the error on Griffin on the throw. John Olerud will probably tell him, hey, that should have been mine. I should have had it.
Yeah, there are tough balls to pick up at first base when you get the in-between hop, but this one just barely hit out in front of John. This is when he's going to catch 99 times out of 100. In fact, it just barely hit the dirt, but he couldn't get it.
Again, that can be part of the playing condition. The ball that takes that nice, neat, short hop when a regular infielder hits that mud a little bit, just stays down and never comes up at all for Olerud. One down. And David Cone misses down low. Mike Gallego batting .243, 0 for 2 tonight.
David Cone up to 102 pitches, certainly within his range, but we're getting near Dwayne Ward and Tom Henke time. Cito Gaston very aware that the advanced weather forecast for tomorrow is very, very shaky, so he's not going to be afraid. In fact, as I speak, it looks like Ward's going to get up in the pen right now.
Yeah, they don't expect to get a game in here tomorrow. Storm's supposed to move in and stay here, even with showers on Sunday. Gallego takes it down low, and it's now 3 balls and no strikes.
This is not a guy that David Cone wants to walk.
Number 9 hitter in the bottom half of the 7th inning. The runner at first. Striking the inside corner. Gallego turned away, trying to draw the walk. 3-1. Leadoff batter Bernie Williams waiting. Cone has walked 4. He has struck out 8. He's had to work in the rain all night, as has everybody else here, but then you're throwing the ball every time. That's tough. 3-2. just challenge him here. Nothing fancy. 3-2 delivery. And that's going to be a base hit into right field. Bell gets it on one hop, and the Yankees, down by 2, have 2 on.
Well, Cito knows you get behind a hitter like Gallego. If you're ahead of him 1 ball, 2 strikes, or 2-2, he's probably about a 190 hitter. But you get to hit behind 3-1 and 3-2, you know Cohn's not going to walk him. That makes Mike Gallego a lot better hitter as Dwayne Ward starts to heat up.
Two on. The error allowing Hayes to reach. He's at second. Gallego at first with a single. 4 hits now for the Yankees, and Bernie Williams, who had a single and scored in the 6th inning, stands in against David Cone. Cone gave up a single in the 1st. The Yankees didn't get another hit until the 6th. 2 on and 1 out.
David losing a little of that compactness in his delivery. He's starting to fly open a little bit.
And they want to get the signs down again. Cone and Borders, and how they want to work here.
I don't know if Cohn's saying I forgot the signs or I'm having trouble seeing. Seems like, didn't David Cone put glasses on at one time? He may be having trouble seeing the signs.
In fact, the first time that Borders went out, I think that's what David Cone said to him. I can't see it. 1-0 the count. Cone to Bernie Williams. This is up high with the off-speed pitch, and he's behind here 2-0, and you see David Cone getting frustrated.
Cito on his way out, and I think he's going to have a little chat with David and say, David, you had it. He's got Ward ready. No question about that in the bullpen. And David Cone got behind Mike Gallego 3-0. Now he's fallen behind Bernie Williams 2-0. And Cito, this is great. Cito was just telling us before the game tonight. He says, you know, I ask my pitchers sometimes, how you doing? You okay? And he said, they all say yes, but it's the way they say yes that I make my decision. And I think they want some more of that drying agent out on the mound. Cone probably said, I'm fine. I'm just slipping. And so Cito called the home plate umpire, Tim Cheat, out to put that drying agent on the mound.
The question now is, can they get it out fast when the rain comes down? Messes it all up again. While they do that, let's check in with Tom.
All right, Jerry, let us have Budweiser take us to Three River Stadium in Pittsburgh. Look at the catch here by Andy Van Slyke. Now, there's runners on second and third for the Mets. Van Slyke robbing Todd Hundley. He's not taking a nap. He was a little bit shaken up, but he stayed in the game. One of the best defensive center fielders in baseball, Van Slyke, saves the bacon for the Pirates, at least for now.
Hey, Frankie, home plate.
Another Gold Glove will go right there.
Rip the knee out of the uniform. Just like Ray Miller, his pitching coach. He tells the pitchers, when you got 2 Willie Mays playing in the outfield, throw strikes. With Barry Bonds and Andy Van Slyke, if it's in the air long enough, they're going to catch it.
Trying desperately to get this game in. The grounds crew working frantically all night long to keep the dirt dry enough to pitch in. That's tough on these guys. I mean, it's not easy conditions to play in. They don't want to get hurt either, so they tend to get a little tentative on their moves, and that's when you get hurt.
I have a tendency at times to think of Bernie Williams as kind of a slap hitter, but he had a 445-foot home run in Detroit a couple of weeks back. So 2 balls and no strikes. If he gets a pitch he can turn on, he's not the automatic slap hitter you might think he is leading off.
Bernie Williams had a 3 for 4 in last night's game and scored 3 runs. Reaching base safely now in 21 consecutive games in that leadoff spot for the Yankees. Grounds crew's still out there. That's why he's waiting to get back in. They're working on the infield as well as on the mound to get things cleaned up. 2-0 count and 1 out. 7th inning. Yankees have Hayes at second and Gallego at first.
He's pitched well, but what he does with Bernie Williams is probably going to determine his fate if he stays in. If he walks him, I think we're going to see Dwayne Ward.
Williams steps back in. 2-0 count. And Bernie Williams takes the strike as Cohen grooved that one in, but kept it down low. 2 balls and 1 strike. Very confident Bernie Williams the second half of the season. Cohen says go through the signs again. The catcher Pat Borders. Again, the 2-1. Williams, 2 balls, 2 strikes.
David told Cito, I just need to get my footing under me. And the Jay skipper, when he called out Tim Sheeta, that probably did not count as a trip to the mound. Because I think Gaston said, wait a minute, you know, I'm doing this because my pitcher's slipping. I think regardless, so if we see Cito again in the inning, we're going to see a new pitcher, so it becomes a moot point.
Williams steps out on him. See if we can see the signs. We have a better view, though, than David Cohn does. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Runner goes to third. Throw down by Borders. What is that? What is that? Charlie Hayes heading for third base. Wasn't even close. Borders up to Kelly Gruber. He's out.
Well, I'm going to say this in defense of Buck Showalter. There's no way he sent Charlie Hayes. Look at this slide. Wow. Lucky he didn't break his leg. Because he hits those low risers, but that's about the only kind of ball that's going to go out here.
Derek Bell enticing Melito Perez to throw over. He did once, and there he goes. Throw down by Stanley. 1 hop. Gallego can't get it on him in time. Stolen base.
Well, Stanley had him zeroed in. If he gets it there in the air, he would have had him. Gallego doesn't like the call, but Derek Bell in safely. His second stolen base of the night. He stole third earlier. So Derek having a big night. Slider in the middle of the plate. Let's see if we can see. Gallego, I think, thought he had him blocked off, but yeah, you see he had his foot there, but Derek Bell still got his hand in on the base. Good call by John Shulock at second base.
6 stolen bases now for Bell. He gets in scoring position for Winfield. There's Gallego, who gives up the argument. 2 ball, 1 strike count on Winfield. Batting .292 as he stands in, and he'll have to wait.
Remember, Melito's got that very quick move to second base. Derek Bell's already stolen third once. A little guessing game. Gallego's holding him pretty close here.
Winfield 303 with runners in scoring position this year. One of the reasons why he's up there with 103 RBIs. Maybe can add to it right here. Second RBI chance he's had on the night. 6th inning he had Bell on and struck out. Melito Perez taking a very long time, and Stanley will go up for a visit.
Still, Melito, you've got one is a fastball. You've got the 2 fork balls. Which one do you want?
2.89 earned run average coming into this ball game for Perez. Mainstay of the Yankee staff. Here's the 2-1 to Winfield. Down low. 3 balls and 1 strike. First base, of course, open here in this 8th inning with 1 away. John Olerud, the on-deck batter. Bell at second.
Gary, if the Yankees are going to make a quantum leap in the standings, some of their young pitchers they're going to count out for next year are going to have to step up. Sam Militello's acquitted himself pretty well. Bob Wickham, Sterling Hitchcock had a couple of starts. They shut him down. They got a guy named Ed Martell, Russ Springer, and of course Mark Hutton, and then Brian Taylor. But they don't expect Taylor next year, even though he's a great-looking prospect.
Try it again. Bounces away. Bell takes off. Mattingly goes over to retrieve. It'll be the second throwing error of the game on Melito Perez. Both times when Derek Bell has been on base. This time it moves him over to third.
Well, you just just wonder, with Melito's ability to hold men close and the great pickoff moves, does it justify the means when you've made 10 throwing errors? He hits Derek Bell right in the back here. So, yeah, sometimes he stops runs, but sometimes he causes them to be given up. Geigo tried to block that, but it never got to him. It hit Derek Bell in the back.
Now we're right back to the 6th inning. The infield's drawn in again. Bell's on third again, and Winfield is at the plate. 3-1 count, one away. This time he chops it foul hard by Hacker, the third base coach. 3-2.
Threw him a 3-1 breaking ball. Last time he had him 3-2 and threw him that big slow fork ball, a great pitch. The bottom fell out of. So the guessing game begins. I've made a couple of educated guesses tonight and been wrong both times. But he hadn't gotten me out, though.
He's still working on it.
I've been able to foul him off.
Not yet. Winfield with a 3-2 count. Out of the stretch. Got him again. 9 strikeouts for Melito Perez, who has done it twice to Winfield when Bell has been in scoring position.
Well, David didn't get much of a pitch to hack at here. Melito throws him a breaking ball. Bottom falls out again. Now you see it, now you don't. And just like deja vu all over again, John Olerud's going to get the intentional walk.
David has struck out 3 times. Winfield 84 Ks on the season. John Olerud drew the intentional walk in the 6th inning. The only 2 walks that have been given up by Melito Perez. Ball 3. Bell at third base watching this in case that ball gets away. And again, we'll have runners on at first and third for Candy Maldonado. While we wait for him to come up, we'll check in with Tom.
Hi, Gary Budweiser takes us to the Metrodome. George Brett's 4th at-bat of the night against Scott Erickson. And it is a base hit to right. Career hit number 2,994, 6 shy of 3,000. Brett came around to score, by the way. The Royals lead that game 4-3. Rick Wilkins, hey, you might say he deserves this home run for the Cubs. He was bowled into by Spike Owen, bowled over by Marquise Grissom, and his homer has given the Cubs a 3-2 lead, Gary.
Melito Perez working to Maldonado again. Maldonado grounded out in the 6th inning when he had runners on at first and third. Same situation for him here. 3-1 rather. Toronto leading the Yankees. Derek Bell, the lead runner at third. Over at first, Olerud. Perez misses inside, a ball and a strike. And mercifully, that rain has gone back to a lighter variety. Pretty good downpour there for about 10 minutes. 1-1 pitch, 1-2.
There were days you showed up after a game like this and a week's pay went down the drain because you had to get a new pair of shoes. Not that way anymore. You guys all have about 20 pair in their locker.
And more outside. 1-2 the count. 2 down. Got him. Yes. Strike 3 called. 10 strikeouts in the game for Melito Perez. Candy Maldonado again unable to come through. And Toronto leaves 2 more on, but they've got the 3-1 lead.
Well, Dwayne Ward, the only man in the American League out of the bullpen who's pitched at least 100 innings the last 4 years, and he's working on it once again. He has been in more games than everybody in the American League pitching-wise except for Kenny Rogers of Texas. 95 2/3 innings. He leads the American League in a category that never gets as much glamour as the saves, but he leads in holds with 23. He's inherited 23 leads that he has held for Tom Henke to finish off.
People like Ward have anything to say about it, it'll be added as an arbitration figure in official stats. Holds.
Well, I'm sure his agent and a few other ones are working on that.
Roberto Kelly will lead it off for the Yankees. Dwayne Ward gets him to pop it up first base. John Olerud. Look out. Right in front of Borders, his catcher. 1 pitch, 1 out here in the 8th.
That's that law of physics. The 6'5" guy always can reach higher than the guy that's 6'2". Of course, with Olerud, who never says anything, he doesn't say, I got it. He just goes in and snatches it.
Reporters wouldn't know what his voice sounded like if he hasn't heard it enough. Run away. John, we hit you in all good humor. Don Mattingly up, RBI single in the 6th inning, the only Yankee run. David Cone, 7 innings, a run on 4 hits, walked 4, and struck out 9. He's got a chance to pick up his 17th win of the year if Toronto can hang on to the lead.
Great story about Charlie Gehringer and a guy named Ellen Hogsett. They were teammates in Detroit. I'll tell you the rest of that after this pitch.
0-1 to Mattingly. Fly ball right field. It is going to be playable. It's not hit hard enough even for the wind to help it out. Bell takes it, and there are 2 down. Tom Meeks.
All right, Gary. Budweiser takes us to Pittsburgh. 2 out of the top of the 9th inning. 1-run game. Pirates leading the Mets. And this is Danny Cox. Swing and a miss, and the game is over. So Cox nails down another save. Should the Expos lose, and they're in the 9th inning, the Pirates would clinch at least a tie for the National League East. Gary.
Pittsburgh Pirates 91st win. Grounded down to 3rd. Kelly Gruber. Olerud not going to make that play. He's able to stop it, but the arrow will be charged to Gruber, and Tarnable reaches with 2 down.
Yeah, this was a pitch to Mattingly. It looked like he got a pretty good piece of it, but it didn't go anywhere.
Short of the warning track. Even with the wind, Mattingly a little under it.
You know, there's just some stories that aren't meant to be finished.
It does appear that way, doesn't it? Here's Mel Hall. Runner on at first base, represents a potential tying run here against Dwayne Ward. Hall was only 3 for 17 lifetime against Ward. Tarnable's on at first base. He reached on the error. 2 errors committed by each team now. 1-1.
You know, and Kelly Gruber, trust me, one of the toughest things to do as an infielder is pick up a wet baseball and try to get a grip to make an accurate throw. I mean, Kelly just guided that thing over. It wasn't even close to the bag, but that was kind of a ground hugger. It picked up all the water on the grass going out there. Unless you have enormously large hands, you're going to have trouble getting a good grip on that thing.
Not a comfortable night out there, Kelly Gruber.
Almost everybody throws the ball with the 2 fingers on it. Sometimes when it gets wet, guys try to throw it with 3.
1 ball, 2 strikes as Ward came inside on him.
One thing you've seen tonight from Melito Perez, from David Cone, and from Dwayne Ward is that devastating split finger pitch or the forkball. And hitters really have not been able to make a very good adjustment to that pitch. It's so tough to pick up the rotation. There is some question what it does to arms, but hitters are not able to handle that pitch.
That's why everybody's trying to throw it. And now with Tim Wakefield at Pittsburgh, everyone's trying out the knuckleball again.
Tim Wallach.
Yeah. 1-2 pitch, another pop-up. Kelly Gruber, chance for redemption. Foul territory. Wind blew him back over, but he was still in foul territory, and Hall is retired. No runs, an error, and a base runner left on. We've completed 8 at Yankee Stadium in the Bronx, New York. Here, but Blue Jays still lead at 3-1 as we go to the 9th inning.
Melito Perez going to make it 2-8 in complete games, 10 complete games, 2-8. Jim Abbott of California is 1-6 with 7 complete games this year.
Melito Perez is going into the 9th inning with 10 strikeouts and 2 intentional walks. Kelly Gruber leads it off and fouls it off, strike 1. Jays are trying to beat the Yankees for the 10th straight time this year and go 10-1 against them. Hasn't been as easy in this game as it has in some of the others with a 3-1 lead. But they've had it throughout with 2 runs in the 2nd inning. Pat Borders' 2 RBI single. Alfredo Griffin, an RBI single in the 7th. Look out. That's what we're talking about on the injuries in this grass. It'll be an infield hit. Kelly Gruber, as Melito Perez could not find the footing.
Well, they've been able to put that drying agent down on the dirt portion of the infield, but again, we talked about the grass portion being extremely wet. This is a ball that Melito Perez should handle, but watch what happens to the feet. Have a seat, Melito. Not a good bunt by Gruber, but it will go as a base hit. Lip sliding.
I'll tell you about those groin pulls right there. That's where you can... Melito doesn't just sit down and tries to make the play. He'd had about 3 groin pulls on that one, I think.
I agree.
Pat Borders up with a runner going center field. Williams over to haul it in, and he'll go to first base just to make it interesting. Mattingly ready to get it, but no play over there on Gruber.
Gary, watching these fly balls from our vantage point tonight, we can't always tell the perception on television, but it almost looks like we're playing in Candlestick. I mean, that thing went out and took a right bend. Bernie Williams looked like he was mystified what that thing was doing.
That'll be our second game where you'll see some more of the winds blowing out there at Candlestick Park, where Cincinnati will take on San Francisco. Coming up as soon as we're done here at Yankee Stadium.
What a segue.
Unbelievable.
I wish I could say I planned it. It's not true.
Alfredo Griffin, couple of hits and an RBI. 9 runs batted in this season with the one he added in the 7th inning. 2 singles.
Another long road trip for Steve Physiak, going all the way from Oakland over to San Francisco to broadcast a game tonight. Hang with him, Steve. I know it's tough. Tough duty.
And he almost threw another one away. Mattingly over to get Perez's throw to first on Kelly Gruber. Already 2 errors on the Yankee pitcher.
It's a record for errors by a pitcher in one game. I don't know. I'm asking.
When it's raining in the fall?
And it's 68 degrees and 70% humidity.
Taken down low. 2 balls, no strikes.
Manuel Lee says, Alfredo, you're doing a nice job, pal. Keep it up. I'm going to try to get my leg better. That's one question Mark Cito's going to have to deal with next week. If they don't think Manny can be ready for the playoffs, if they get there, they may have to put Eddie Zosky on and disable Lee. I think they have to ask permission once the rosters are set September 1st. But when it's a genuine injury, and nobody doubts the kind of year Manuel Lee is having, that it is a real injury.
Hamstring pull behind the left knee. Mattingly hauling another one in. Kelly Gruber at first base, 1 away. Almost caught him right on the cheek. Strike taken. 3 balls, 1 strike. Two clubs will try and get the game in tomorrow. Juan Guzman and Bob Wickman tomorrow. And that'll put runners on at first and second base, Tom.
All right, Gary Budweiser takes us to the Metrodome. Chili Davis against Jeff Montgomery. 2 outs, bottom of the 9th. Weak grounder to second. That's it. Royals win, and the Oakland A's at this hour clinch no worse than a tie for the American League West. They're trailing Milwaukee, but the magic number for Oakland is now 1. Back to New York.
94 wins for the Oakland A's. They lead the majors in wins. 2 on, 1 out. Melito Perez gets the strike to Devon White, the leadoff batter.
Well, if you've ever doubted that baseball is a team game, take a look at what 2 teams have done this year, the Oakland A's and the Pittsburgh Pirates. Yeah, they got some stars, but they got a lot of role players that have filled those roles brilliantly on both sides.
Hard to believe the Oakland A's lead the majors in wins. What they have gone through this year. 0-1 pitch. Perez up high with it. 1 ball, 1 strike. Top of the 9th inning here at Yankee Stadium. Perez has gone the distance for the Yankees. That walk given up to Griffin is the first walk other than the 2 intentional that he has given up.
Okay, come on now.
Melito Perez, we'll see whether or not he's able to make it through here as the Yankees have action for the first time in the ballpark. Way up high with that. 2 balls and 1 strike.
Rich Monteleone tossing the 4 of the Yanks in their pen. Buck Showalter, Mark Connor, and Russ Meyer with the glasses on. Remember the 1950 Whiz Kids. The Monk.
2-1 delivery. White got the fastball he was looking for, but didn't hit it. 2-2.
Good to see there's still a place in baseball for some elderly type gentlemen. A lot of knowledge. Sometimes they put those guys out to pasture, and a lot of knowledge goes down the drain. There's the Canadian Goose, Tom Henke. He's been throwing a little bit down in the pen. He's just trying to stay dry right now.
2-2 the count. And Devon White will work for the 3-2 count. 2 on, first and second occupied. And Derek Bell waiting on deck. On away here, the Yankee infield looking for the ground ball to try and get out of this inning. Melito Perez, 3-2. Runners go. Foul back. A lot of people around the ballpark tonight who thought that this ball game would, number one, start, number two, go the mandatory 5, and fewer still that it would be in the 9th inning.
Yeah, the groundskeeper came in and talked to Cito Gaston while we were in there about 10 to 5 today, and he said, Cito, rain forecast for around 7. We're going to try to get it in, though, because it doesn't look like good at all for tomorrow.
Timeout taken at the plate by Devon White just in time.
We saw Melito taking a long look back at Randy Velarde, who was sneaking in behind Kelly Gruber. Melito has picked a man off at second base tonight, Alfredo Griffin.
Again, fouled off, and the count stays at 3 balls and 2 strikes on Devon White.
Rich Hacker will go through some signs. I don't know if it's the air or just where we're sitting, but almost every ball that's hit the bat tonight kind of sounds like a thud. I don't really hear any crisp. Ball Borders hit the left center, made a little noise, and that one that Mike Stanley hit to left field that the wind brought back. Not too many of them.
Sounds like soft wood bats.
Yeah, does indeed.
3-2. Perez turns to second base. Kelly Gruber ducks, but there was no throw. Gruber at second, Griffin at first. Jays up 3-1. Runners go. Struck him out. Charlie Hayes tags Gruber. Double play. Strike him out, throw him out, double play. 11 strikeouts for Melito Perez.
Well, Kelly Gruber tagged out Charlie Hayes on a 2-5 double play, and Charlie Hayes returned in kind.
ESPN Major League Baseball is brought to you by Anheuser-Busch, who proudly brings you Family Talk. Let's stop underage drinking before it starts.
Yankee Stadium, where the Toronto Blue Jays are trying to pick up another win against the Yankees in what has been a game played in its entirety in the rain. Toronto has been able to hang on to that lead they got on Pat Porter's 2 RBI single in the 2nd inning. They added to it with Alfredo Griffin's single in the 7th. David Cone able to shut it down. Ward came on for an inning and faced only 4 batters, didn't give anything up, and here he is.
He's had his usual good one. He starts out slowly and gets better as the year goes on. Has not blown a save since July. Tom Henke, 4 times has gone 30 or more saves. 7 times has had 20 plus, and he's the beneficiary of a great setup man, Dwayne Ward, who came in and threw 8 pitches, 7 of them strikes, and a terrific start by David Cone. It's up to the big guy to close it out here.
He'll face Velarde, Stanley, and Hayes as Rick Showalter's team facing their 81st loss if they can't come back. Cito Gaston's club after their 91st win. Henke in the league is 5th in saves. Velarde. Eckersley got his 51st last night. Aguilera 40. Montgomery with KC's got 38. Greg Olson with Baltimore 34. Henke with 31. Yankees have been held to just 4 hits in this game. Henke misses on it. 2-0 the count.
Hanky doesn't mess around much. Fastball, forkball, pretty much the repertoire. Velarde may have to take a strike here. In the old days, he would when you're down by 2, but this is the modern era of baseball.
The day of arbitration. And he's down on it. 3 balls, no strikes by Hanky.
And I will say one thing for Randy, though. He was taking all the way.
Hanky's had 31 saves in 34 situations, 91% effective. 4th time with 30 or more saves in a season. 9 saves in his last 10 games. 7 saves in a row. Trying to extend that here tonight. 3-0 count. 3-1. We're seeing Toronto at their best, having it right the way they want it. Whether they win it or not, they've got it where they want it. They got the lead first. As Dave said, that's when they win them. They get a good start. They get Ward in for an inning or a little more, and they get Hanky in for 1.
Well, Velarde took it. He took 2-0. He took 3-1. And when you're staring down the barrel at your 4th consecutive strikeout, the infamous golden sombrero, it's tough to do. But team baseball dictates you got to take in that situation.
3-2 right field. Started in. Oh, a snow cone catch by Derek Bell. He wanted to make that highlight reel, and he just did.
Well, Derek has made 2 terrific catches tonight, but quite frankly, he's broken on the ball wrong both times. But the end result is, how have you made out? He's had 2 hits, 2 stolen bases, and 2 spectacular catches. He's acquitted himself pretty well. You can see he's turned the wrong way, but great athletic ability makes up a lot of times for some mistakes when the ball is first hit. That, the only way you can make that play is to be a great athlete, and Derek Bell is.
So Hanky gets the first out with help from Derek Bell. Now Matt Noakes will pinch hit. Noakes is hitting for the catcher Stanley. As a pinch hitter, 4 for 12 pinch hit home run among those hits, a couple of RBIs. Overall, those are the numbers.
If you or I tried to make that catch, we'd have full ribcage muscles for the next year.
Or no ribs at all left. Bell's had quite a game tonight. I mean, a couple of catches out there, and then he's gone 2 for 4 at the plate with a couple of singles, has stolen 2 bases, and has caused Melito Perez to commit 2 errors on throws, all with Derek Bell involved, because Carter's got the bruised knee and is out. Matt Noakes charges it to center field. Devon White backing up on it, makes the catch. And the Yankees are down to their final out here in the 9th inning. Melito Perez could take another complete game loss. And David Cone could pick up another win here. It'd be his 17th of the year and his 4th with the Jays.
Probably won't be any writers in after the game talking to David, will there?
Back by Charlie Hayes.
There will be more writers talking to David Cone than there are fans left in the stands right now.
0 on the count on Hayes. 2 down, no one on. 9th inning. Toronto leading 3-1. The magic number could be cut to at least 5 here with a victory. Hayes going after Hanky's riser. Down to their final strike, 0-2. Tom Hanky does have a save situation for himself right here.
Yeah, Kevin Moss on deck. Should it get to Gallego's spot, he would represent the tying run. Hanky doesn't want to see him.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Hanky trying to wrap it up. 30-second save. 1-2. This is down low. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Yankees really wanted to put some heat on Toronto in this series. When you've lost 9 out of 10, you get one more shot at a team. You want that to happen. John Shulock going over to Derek Bell to retrieve something on the field. Baseball.
Amazing. In Yankee Stadium, somebody throws something on the field.
Amazing it's a baseball. That's what's amazing. 2-2 the count. It's history. Hanke comes on and retires the side in order. David Cone the winner. 17-9. Perez the loser. 12-16. Buck Showalter's team now 1-10 against the Toronto Blue Jays. And there you see the standings with Milwaukee about to put one away against Oakland. They've got one out there in that ninth inning. The Jays' magic number right now at 5.
Just a very methodical victory for the Toronto Blue Jays. Solid pitching, clutch hit by Borders, good base running, at times putting some pressure on the defense, and the great relief pitching. Just your typical Blue Jay win.
There you see the final line on it. Blue Jays win it by a score of 3-1. Dave Campbell and all of our crew here at Yankee Stadium. Thank you for being with us. We got another one coming along.